to all the dignitaries, keynote speakers, delegates, friends from the media, faculty members and participants to the third annual International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management. Today I, Sarthak Kothiyal, a student of 42nd batch of PGTM RM and
I'm Rajeshwari, participant of PGTM RMI. Take great pleasure in welcoming you all to the Institute of Rural Management, Anand. The advancement in technology has given us an opportunity to interact with veterans from all over the world in a hybrid manner. Similarly, today we are joined by experts both online and in person. So, on this occasion, we would like to take the privilege to introduce and welcome the chief guest, guests of honor, and the keynote speakers to the stage. To begin with, we consider it a great honor to welcome the dignitaries who have joined us from afar and invite their presence on the dais virtually.
I am elated and to take the opportunity to invite our chief guest, Dr. Ann Gibbs, CEO, Asset Management Council, Australia.
I'm equally glad to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Bhatt Joshi, IPS. We welcome you both to the proceedings, and may we request our audience to welcome them with a big round of applause. Thank you so much.
Now, inviting the dignitaries present here on stage. The guest of honor, Dr. Syed Islam, Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, Federation University, Australia.
We welcome you, sir. And now I cordially invite Dr. Umakant Dash, Director IRMA, onto the stage.
Welcoming Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay on stage.
With immense pleasure, I invite Dr. Kiran Anand, Chair IEEE, Gujarat Section, and Deputy Pro Vice Chancellor, Ganapath University, onto the dais.
Requesting Dr. Raghuveer Pai to join the other dignitaries on the stage.
I also would like to invite Dr. Hari Krishna Mishra, Organizing Chair, ICMIAM 2022, onto the dais.
Last but not the least, inviting Dr. Satyendra Pandey, Member, IRMA Board of Governors, to join us on the stage. Thank you, everyone. It is now time to experience the rich tradition of Vedic chanting at the onset of the event. For this, we invite Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay to perform the Vedic chant.
Sahana bhavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karevavahe तेजस्विनावधीत मस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शांति हरि ओम तत्सत्. This is the chanting from Rig Veda, which was written around 1500 years before Christ. So what it tells about, like this conference and the knowledge sharing. Together, may we move in our studies. There were research those days. Together, may we relish our studies. Whatever we do it with joy. Together, may we perform our studies with vigor, a deep concentration, that means focus, meditation. May what has been studied by us be filled with the brilliance of understanding leading to knowledge. Whatever we do is the purpose of the society. That is Atma Moksha. You are good, try to be excellent. Jagat Hitayacho. Our life is for the benefit to the universe. May it not give rise to hostility due to lack of understanding. We called the ancient philosophies of Jogo the synergy, collaboration, cooperation. Like the Jogo, the rain comes, the trees, they take the rain, the moisture goes to the atmosphere, there is underground water, there is a surface water, and the cycle goes on. So that is how the old philosophy tells it is the collaboration, cooperation. Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, sir, for energizing the environment and giving positive vibes by the chant. Now, we invite the dignitaries to begin the proceedings with the auspicious lighting of the lamp. I request all our dignitaries to do the honors. Thank you, sir.
Now, let's extend a warm and floral welcome to all the dignitaries. Firstly, we request Dr. Umakant Dash, Director IRMA, to welcome Dr. Syed Islam with a bouquet.
We now request Dr. H.K. Mishra to welcome Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay.
Sir, we also request you to present the bouquet to Dr. Raghuveer Pai and welcome him.
Now, we request Dr. Satyendra Pandey to greet Dr. Kiran Amin by presenting a bouquet.
Once again, requesting Dr. H.K. Mishra to welcome Dr. Umakant Dash. Thank you, everyone. It is now time to invite and welcome Dr. Umakant Dash, Director IRMA, to address the students and welcome everyone gathered here.
Dr. Syed Islam, Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor, Federation University, Australia. Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Padjoshi, CMD, Kerala Civil Supplies Corporation, who joined us online. Dr. Annie Gibbs, CEO, Asset Management Council, Australia, who's also online. Dr. Dukan Bentley, Vice Chancellor and President, Federation University, Australia. Special Lecturer Kiran Amin, Chair, IEEE Gujarat Section. Dr. Raghuveer Pai, President, Asset Management Studies of India. Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. This gives me immense pleasure to welcome you for the third International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligence Asset Management Conference being held at Institute IRMA. A hearty welcome to you all. I'm sure you have comfortably stay here on campus, and our teams will make every effort to ensure the comfort during your stay. I'm happy to introduce IRMA to those who have come from other part of the country and other part of the world. This institute, with a legacy of more than 40 years, was founded in 1979 by Dr. Verghese Kurian, the milkman of India, the founding chairman of NDDB. When it was started with an objective to professionalize the institutions which are working in the rural areas and for the vulnerable section of the society. When he says, be it NDDB or be it GCMMF or be it IRMA, we are not part of doing business in milk. The very objective of these organizations are to create asset for the rural people, for those farmers who are involved in the dairy sector and other sectors, to provide a minimum livelihood, to empower the women who are working in the rural areas. Therefore, from that perspective, I think this particular conference is of immense value to IRMA and it is very much in line with the mission and vision of Institute IRMA. When I was teaching corporate finance, I know how important the management of the assets. Always in a oligopoly market where the competition is very tough, where you can't set the prices or fluctuate the prices the way you want. The only way to sustain, the only way to increase your bottom line is to how effectively and efficiently you manage your asset. But if you look to a country like India, it's not just the asset management is important for corporate sector. It's also equally important to the sectors which are below the corporate sector, or which are, suppose if you take examples like social sectors, or to academic institutes like IRMA. I think the intelligent management of the assets are equally important to any organization, be it a profit-making organization, be it a not-profit organization. To sustain, I think the theme is again appropriate given the context. How are we going to make this particular theme relevant to the sustainable development? When we are talking about eradicating or eliminating poverty of no kind, or be it improving the infant mortality rate, or the life expectancy, or the employability, or the living standard of the country or the people. I think this particular theme is very relevant, particularly when we are talking about the startup revolution that is happening in India, where thousands and thousands of startups are taking shape every day. If we teach them how these assets are going to be optimally managed, intelligently managed, so that not only the ROI is going to be much better, but also it is going to contribute in a big manner in the sustainable development goals which the country and which the entire world has set a goal. As part of Dr. Kurian's systematic approach, IRMA emerged as a strong institution to provide the required managerial skill to the sector and the sector organization striving to augment livelihood. Over the decades after inception, IRMA has contributed immensely to national and local policies, consulting ministries of the Government of India and the state departments. Of late, we have signed MOUs with Ministry of Panchayat Raj. We are working closely with Ministry of Cooperation and Ministry of Rural Development, where we see the importance of managing these assets in the social sector, in the rural areas, or in the institutions which are working for the rural areas. So our students during the academic program stay in host organization villages and panchayats to observe, study, and learn insight into the livelihood stress the local population in India faces, especially in the asset management. Asset management and SDG have high correlation in the management of resources allocated, because given the scarcity of resources, the only way to strive is how best and how efficiently we manage our assets. So therefore, I'm sure the conference, that three days conference that we are holding here, will give us an opportunity, space to deliberate, discuss issues which are very relevant to maximize and optimally use the asset and maintenance of asset. Because unless we maintain the asset appropriately, in time, the cost down the line is going to be much heavier than what we anticipate. So therefore, I'm sure this platform would provide an opportunity to present, share our ideas among peers and networks, and initiate discussion on issues related to management development assets for sustainable development. I wish the conference a grand success and congratulate the entire team for their effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I invite Dr. Raghuveer Pai to share his reflections from the past ICMIAM conferences.
So do you need the column? Do you need the column?
No, it's okay. Good morning. dignitaries on the days, dignitaries of the days, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasant privilege to present to you the journey of the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management. As all of you may be aware, that this is the third in the series, but to give you the journey that it has taken and how we have come to this stage today. I think it all started in 2014 when Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay was in the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. And then they had, I think, a one-day workshop on asset management at Gol Park. And subsequent to that, I had an opportunity to go to Federation University on an Australian government fellowship, which was supported by Federation University, in particular by Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay and Professor Stephen Wilcox. So during that time, we had a one day, or I think about a half day and one day, couple of workshops for the industries around in the Gippsland area, where the Churchill campus of Federation University is, I think, southeast of the city of Melbourne, about 2 hours southeast of the city of Melbourne. So at that time, we just discussed, because asset management is something new to India, and then we should try to bring people together. And that's how we organized the first international conference on maintenance and intelligent asset management 2020. That's in January 2020, 17th and 18th in the Manipal, Dubai, in the Manipal, Bangalore campus. And I was coordinating that conference. And subsequently, Dr. Gopi Nath Chattopadhyay took that conference to Ballarat, which is the headquarters of Federation University. And Ballarat is one of the oldest cities in Australia, where the first settlement, where the gold rush took place. So it's the gold city. I think they're still finding gold there. So the second conference was held, that's ICMIAM 2021. And because of the pandemic, this COVID-19, we were supposed to have it in February 2021, but it went to December 2021. But the restrictions were still there, and therefore it was a hybrid conference. So the hybrid now is going to stay with us post-pandemic. Although all previous conferences to that were all physical. People would like to go to some places, meet people, but now people are meeting online. But that's still okay. But the physical conference is still a significant meaning. Well, people will have various issues for not traveling, and that online is a good option. So, and during these two conferences, we also had pre-conference workshops. In 2020, we had John Hardwick, who is the Executive Director of New South Wales Roads. So he did a pre-conference workshop on the fundamentals of asset management. And in the last ICMIAM 2021, Professor H.K. Mishra from IRMA, he did a one-day workshop on rural assets for the Sustainable Development Goals. And I think that was a precursor to ICMIAM 2022. And here we are today to inaugurate this conference. Over the next 2 days, we will see various discussions, papers, keynote addresses on various aspects of asset management from people across domains who are present here as well as online. And to give you an overview of ICMIAM 2022, Professor Mishra is going to speak, I think, after me. So thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your reflections. I now request Dr. Hare Krishna Mishra, Organizing Chair, ICMIAM 2022, to kindly address the delegates.
Good morning, all of you. Respected dignitaries on the dais, chief guests and guests of honor, keynote speakers, invitees, track chairs, session chairs, PC members, and delegates who joined in person and online. My faculty colleagues, officers and staff colleagues as well, research scholars, and students of IRMA. The press, my colleagues in the organizing and technical committees of ICMIAM 2022. A very warm welcome to all of you. I know that few of our delegates are staying on NDDB campus. I hope they are well placed there and settled down. And we have taken care of the delegates, those who are staying on campus at IRMA. I also hope that they have settled in as well. As you know, Dr. Raghuveer shared with you that this is a conference series. We are taking baby steps. There are two reasons behind this. Do we really appreciate assets? Do we really know what are the dimensions of assets? These are the things which are actually, we are trying to deliver it. And the conference series perhaps will like to find some answers. And with the emergence of or failure of MDGs, followed by SDGs which are more complex, we need to know how assets are going to contribute to the entire gamut of challenges that we face today in the world. So this conference aims to link SDGs, assets, and especially rural assets, because we stand for rural sector organizations or sector itself. This theme of rural assets for sustainable development has 6 tracks, because we had to retain the mainstream tracks of the ICMIAM 2020 series, but we have added 3 more tracks having focus on rural areas. This conference has the network of academic, industry, government bodies, research organizations, including Federation University, Australia, Asset Management Council, Australia, Asset Management Society of India, who is now chaired by Dr. Raghuveer, MIT Mahe, Manipal, United Nations University, Portugal, Luleå University of Technology, Sweden, thanks to Dr. Uday Kumar and Dr. Aditya Parida, who have been constant inspiring agents for us. They have been constantly working in supporting us. Dr. Kharinda Pathak, who is already there with us from IIT Kharagpur, and also Laval University, Canada, they have also supported us. This conference has been supported by IEEE Gujarat section. I am very thankful to Dr. Kiran Amin, who approved the entire procedure at a very short notice. Thank you, sir, for this help. Let's give me a big hand. Why am I saying so? Because this conference is highly technical and we need the help of IEEE. We all know what is IEEE. It has its own standards, and almost all the papers that are qualifying will be published in the IEEE Explore with Scopus. So that's the big thing that we are still continuing, and I hope the series will always respect that. The other publication channels are there with us. Our own journal, which is getting high index as we progress. also has supported this conference. Thanks to Dr. Umakandas, who kindly asked, approved this, and also Dr. Saswat Biswas with the editor-in-chief, and Dr. Indranil Dev with the editor. Let us give them a big hand. And these papers will appear in a special issue of IJRM. This is being published by SAGE. And third one is International Journal of Systems Assurance and Engineering and Management of Springer. Thanks to Dr. Uday Kumar of Sweden, Luleå University, Sweden, who kindly agreed to support this. Let us also give him a big thanks. So we are highly loaded with the richness of the planning and execution, and I hope we shall succeed in all these endeavors, but for your supports that we have. We are going to publish our own proceedings as well. Across 6 tracks, let me give you a little bit of statistics. We received around 112 papers in various forms, full paper and then abstracts. It went through blind reviews through Easy Chair. I'm thankful to all the reviewers, sub-reviewers, especially some track chairs who joined at a very last moment, like Dr. Ramakrishna Das, who is the NIC's technical director, to support us. There are so many other track co-chairs who joined and tried to make it a success. We know how painful the review process is all about. So, after all this juggling, we got 59 accepted papers and abstracts. And we have got full IEEE compliant papers of 24 in number. And total full papers are 47, the rest are abstracts. You must be knowing, it is all available in our website, that we are going to have 3 best paper awards in the valedictory session. So I would urge that the delegates should be there around to get their results. The conference has 16 keynote speakers, guest speakers, drawn from academia, industry, and government. This government, this conference got funding support from CSIR, Union Bank, Gopani Iron and Power India, thanks to Dr. Khanindra from IIT Kharagpur, and also Sahaj Retail Limited, which came off late. So I'm confident with this galaxy of speakers, researchers, academia, industry experts around, we'll be enriching the entire environment with knowledge sharing, discussions and deliberations over the next 3 days. And I hope you'll kindly support this conference and see that this quality goes up in its own ways. And we set a benchmark, because we at IRMA set our own benchmarks. So I need all of your help so that we create this benchmark for the next edition to come up and build further. So with this, I thank you very much. We shall keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Dilip Rath, Honorable Chairman, IRMA, could not be here with us on this occasion. Instead, he has shared his good wishes in the form of a message. I now request Dr. Satyendra Pandey to share that message with us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm reading out this message on behalf of Dr. Dilip Rath, Chairman IRMA. As I'm reading the transcript, dear delegates of ICMIAM 2022, I'm privileged to welcome you to IRMA, which hosts the ICMIAM 2022. The Institute has its uniqueness in working closely with the rural sector and sector-based organizations. Since its inception in 1979, IRMA has been engaged in academic research and consulting with a focus on the rural sector. Its faculty, alumni, and students are known nationally about their astounding contributions. I learned ICMIAM 2022 has the focus on rural assets and SDGs while retaining the overall theme on intelligent asset management. It is quite contemporary in global context, especially due to the even increasing focus on asset monetization, rural livelihood augmentation, and localization of entrepreneurship. Optimal use of assets, including natural, physical, social, with strategic focus on common assets is the challenge. Technology induction, adopting best practices of Industry 4.0 and beyond holds the promise. Asset management is an emerging area where academic attention is required. We need to amplify scientific research work to develop managerial solutions. Better asset management will lead to efficient use of resources and help us achieve SDGs within the stipulated time frame. In countries like India, where we have a vast hinterland, we need to apply asset management principles to augment the efforts and involve people in the ownership and management of the assets for effective use. I'm happy that the Institute of Rural Management Anand has taken the responsibility of organizing this conference in Anand, a place that has witnessed and proved how best social and economic assets can be managed collectively and how the same can be harnessed for public good. I'm also happy to learn the presence of a galaxy of researchers, academicians, students, and industry experts who have come together to be part of the conference and to engage in theme-specific deliberations. I'm confident of a commonly agreed outcome for the policymakers to take note. I'm sure this conference spread across 6 tracks will focus, deliberate, and find ways to suggest the synergy between the core principles of intelligent asset management and rural sector needs to benefit the overall livelihood conditions of poor, find ways to contribute to solidarities and circular economy. I wish the conference a great success. I close. That was the message from Chairman Dr. Dilip Rath. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being the bearer of the chairman's message. Moving along, we have a video message from Lieutenant General Dr. M.D. Venkatesh, Vice Chancellor, MAHE.
Distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from Manipal Academy of Higher Education, an institution of eminence deemed to be university. I am delighted to be part of the inaugural event of the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management 2022, organized by the Institute of Rural Management Anand in association with Federation University Australia, Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, Manipal Institute of Technology, Asset Management Council Australia, and Asset Management Society India. I am also glad to note that a large number of partners are supporting the conference. Luleå University of Technology, Sweden, University of Laval, Canada, United Nations University, Portugal, and IEEE. In January 2020, we had the opportunity of organizing the first ICMIAM conference, ICMIAM 2020, in our Bengaluru campus. The conference was a great success and had presentations by researchers, accomplished academicians, and the industry experts. The highlight of the conference was the blessings of Revered Swamiji Muktidananda Ji, President Sri Ramakrishna Ashrama, Mysuru. He gave a very important insight on the spiritual aspects and linked it with the technology and asset management and life management, especially with regard to nature and environment, which are an integral part of materialistic aspects of technology. At Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal, we give highest importance to the professional development of our faculty, staff, and students. MAHE, being part of the organizing team, it gives our faculty and students the experience of coordinating and managing international events. An international conference like ICMIAM 2022 gives plenty of opportunities to our faculty and students to get to know the recent advances in the academic, research, and industrial ecosystem. I am certain that the efforts of the Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, in collaboration with renowned universities and practitioners of assessed management, would lead to significant explorations in the field. Intelligent asset management offers vast avenues for research, and I am sure that the discussions during the conference would open up great opportunities for researchers. I truly appreciate the efforts put in by the organizers to make this conference a success, and I extend my warm greetings to all the participants of ICMIAM 2022. I wish the conference all the success. Jai Hind.
We thank you for your good wishes, sir. Now we get a chance to listen to Professor Duncan Bentley, Vice Chancellor and President, Federation University, Australia, through a video.
I'm delighted that once again Federation University Australia will take part in the International Conference of Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management, which this year is hosted by the Institute of Rural Management, Anand, India. As the Vice-Chancellor and President of Federation University Australia, I thank you all for organising this conference, and I would love to welcome you all when this conference again comes back to Australia in 2023. Federation University Australia was the proud host of the ICMIAM last year, which was a huge success, and this was due to the great support from the network of partner institutions from across the globe. I'm certain with all of your support that this year's conference will enjoy even greater success. Our university strives to transform lives and enhance communities, and our research drives innovation by being agile and responsive to emerging opportunities and collaboration. And we can achieve this by building genuine partnerships based on shared goals with our collaborators, which makes conferences such as these such a valuable undertaking. This conference can help frame national and international agendas and policy to support rural and regional enterprises and communities, requiring a critical yet pragmatic approach. And this may include policy push for common assets, aggregated ownership and use. This is a collective advantage for managing asset life, for reducing costs and risks, and enhancing performance, not only for this generation, but also for our future generations. As many world leaders set an aggressive policy towards net zero by 2050, it will be interesting to see new assets emerge and how maintenance and diagnostics of these new assets will impact research and innovation in this field. Conferences like ICMIAM will help drive our asset agenda for the future. I wish the conference a great success and hope you enjoy your time together.
Thank you, sir. Now, we request our guest of honor, Dr. Syed Islam, on the dais. So do you need this? Do you need a call mic or you'll work with this?
I'll talk from here. I'll be able to see the slides, right? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. While they are loading my presentation, I just would like to thank the organizers, particularly talking about the guest of honor speech. Not this one, the first one. Did it reach us? I don't think it has come. No, I have given it to them. Yeah, so yes, it's a pleasure to be here, and I thank Professor Harakrishna Mishra for inviting me to this conference. As you have heard, that this is third in a series, and this is a joint initiative by Australian and Indian collection of universities. This is proving to be a very fruitful series of conference. Already in the last two, we have had quite a few intense discussions and research papers presented, and I'm sure that in this one we'll also hear a lot of thought-provoking discussions and new research ideas that will be presented here. It's interesting that how asset management, that we need to think it in a different way, in a sense that that assets are changing as we focus on new technologies and look forward toward a sustainable world. We focus on many new things that we haven't heard before, such as electric vehicles, renewables, powering the world without coal and gas and petroleum. You know how that can all happen. It is actually going to emerge as a brand new asset regime. And then the question is that how, and are you ready to manage those assets, let alone know what those assets are. So I think it's a very interesting time that we are entering. So with that, So with that, I just like to share a couple of slides with you. I'm titling this Asset Management a 360-degree view. So I start by saying that the world as it is today, its total asset is around $430 trillion, right? And we all know that the GDP of a country is a reflection of what industrialization happens in the country, what commercialization happens in the country, and what net assets a country could have in terms of equipment and other assets, tangible assets, right? So Australia, for example, in this slide, if you can read, is $7.2 trillion. That's the net asset of Australia. That's not much compared to United States, which has about $105 or $106 trillion, right? And then not far away, China. And you can see that those countries are so industrialized and their asset base is huge, right? So, so in terms of Australian assets, I would like to just mention to you that Australia is also embarking on new asset generation. So for example, in our last election, our new Prime Minister, he promised that they will be developing and putting in close to $10 billion in infrastructure development. And that's a parliament decision and is going to happen in 2022 to 2023. So our asset will be increased by that much amount. This will be new rail links, new road infrastructure, new tunnels, and those sort of things, right? But Australia also going to spend about $160 billion in new energy business, which is Infrastructure Australia's commitment. So the interesting thing is that if we can, of those huge asset base and the investment that goes in, if you could have a small percentage of improvement through research, development, better management, and you can add to the productivity, to the efficiency of those asset regime, that itself speaks a volume. You can see that, of that huge amount, even 1% increase in efficiency could generate so much to this world that could be used otherwise, right? So there is plenty of opportunity for students, researchers, managers of assets to focus on productivity and efficiency of assets, right? Asset management basically comes through two main ways, right? One is that an organization who has got an asset base, they would develop a top-level strategy that is an asset management strategy. Underneath that, you would have a strategic plan in asset management. So essentially is that what needs to be done and how it needs to be done, right? So an organization which has asset base, whether it's a university, whether it is the Boeing industry or a software management industry, whatever industry that you have to have a good idea of your strategic assets and how you're going to develop a strategy to grow your assets, renew your assets, okay? And then a plan to go underneath it so that you could develop different techniques, tools to monitor, maintain, and intelligently maintain. We talked about Industry 4.0, right? We came a long way. We came from the mechanization, Industry 2.0, to automation and control in Industry 3.0, and then we're coming in the age of use of artificial intelligence in managing industry operation asset. And therefore, we see that there's enormous role in terms of new technology development, new research-led innovative tools and techniques to be developed in through asset management plan. So this figure shows that, those two questions, what and how. So basically, we need to develop, as you see on the right, is how, that we need to develop asset management strategy. And then underneath, we need to develop the strategic plan, which is what that needs to be done. So engineers like us, researchers like us, we fall on that what category. That what is it that we are going to do in terms of developing new tools and technique to actually how to manage our assets. And there will be lots of papers, lots of talks, keynote talks will be presented over the next 2 days in this conference that will benefit us and answer some of those what questions. And asset management, basically, as I mentioned, that have got 2 tiers. Now, a good asset management strategy should focus on few things. No matter what you do, if you are in a business, an industry, then first of all, you need to develop the organizational growth plans. That for example, this university, IRMA, right? So you have a particular focus on basically providing education in rural management, in the development sector, like NGOs and so on, right? Federation University, we are very similar to IRMA. We are connected with our community, as our Vice Chancellor mentioned, that we are there to transform lives and enhance our communities. And at the same time, develop a strong and financially sustainable university. So we need to understand what our business is and what our growth plan is, right? So that's the institutional plan. Then you need to have an environmental scan, operational review, and demand shift. Things are changing all the time, right? And we need to know that by scanning our environment, okay, we need to know that what to do. Traditional way may not lead us to success. So we need to continuously scan the environment and then generate new business, new line of products, new courses, new degree programs, and that is our asset. And we need to focus on that. Sustainability, both environmental and financial. Of course, nothing is going to fly unless you are able to demonstrate to your managers, senior managers, your directors, that whatever I'm doing is sustainable. It's sustainable in environmental sense, that is good for the world, that is not just good for this generation, for the next generation, but it is also financially sustainable. Efficiency and effective utilization of assets, that's very important, that the asset that we have, the current asset that we have, how to generate more efficiency and how to effectively utilize those assets. Technological advances, you need to see that if we want to add to our asset base, what new technology are there? And that is only going to help us in defining a better way of asset acquisition and asset operation and management. Remnant life of assets. The assets that currently you have, right? You need to have a technique to understand that how much life is remaining in that asset. Whether it is an aircraft, whether it's a power station, or whether it is anything that is a line of product is, we need to know that what's this remnant life, okay? And then continuously innovate on those assets, new asset acquisition, asset ordering. For example, if you have a large power transformer and that feeds in the city of Anand, right? And if that transformer fails, you are going to be out of electricity for a while. But better asset manager will be thinking about that early enough to look at the status, the condition of that transformer, and then order new ones if necessary, so that if something happens, you are not waiting for an ordered transformer to come and put in service. So that is the plan that you need to do, and that helped by remnant life estimation. And that could be artificial intelligence by knowing different condition of that asset. Supply chain and logistic issues is very important, that how we get those assets. Monitoring of assets is also very important, right? So this remnant life I talked about, it can come from by knowing the condition of that asset. And that asset, you need to know the condition of that asset. And that various ways of knowing. If we are talking about a human being, okay, we know, we go to a doctor and that they will tell us that, well, your blood pressure is not very good, or your kidney is not functioning well, your heart is not functioning well. Well, they have got these indices and diagnostic techniques that they will tell me that how long I might live, or how many days I have. These days, doctors can say you have got 20 days to live if you have a stage 3 cancer, right? Similarly, about assets, we could tell them by monitoring techniques that how long they have, and therefore asset replacement and renewal. Together with it is workforce and skills development is very important. If we are talking about new assets, new way of doing things, new technology, is people like you who are the new generation, they will be knowing that how to actually run those assets, maintain those assets. The old thinkers like me, I think we are outdated in that way, right? So there need to be development of new skills, new educational system, new research, and a new way of maintaining assets. Look, so talking about that, in terms of doing things really, condition monitoring is a very important way of maintenance of assets. Asset maintenance is very, very important. The asset base that you have, you need to know how you maintain those. So in the past, people have used preventive maintenance, annual maintenance kind of thing, no matter whether the equipment needs maintenance or not. And that way has happened two things. One is that you may have to bring down a totally functional equipment to just maintain it because it is time to do that. And the other thing is that you may have missed when the equipment is going to fail. So therefore, preventive maintenance has not worked. People have moved away from them, and then they are now doing predictive maintenance or condition-based maintenance. We call it CBM. That means that what we do is that we monitor, whether it is on real time or offline, online monitoring techniques to monitor an asset. I give you an example. Okay, in Australia, we saw that one wind turbine caught fire, right? And people are thinking that, well, we haven't seen a wind turbine catching fire, right? How did that happen? So what it eventually, and that was the research done actually by our group, and what we figure out that the stator of the generator has got stator and rotor. The rotor is the moving part, and the stator is the stationary winding. So what we saw that because of high harmonic frequencies generated in the stator current of that machine, the machine's real 50 hertz component of the current is much less, and the meter shows the current is fine. but the harmonic component added to the true RMS value of that current, and it was 150, 160% of the fundamental rated current. So what that basically means, I square R is the heat generated in that machine, and at 40 degree in summer temperature in Adelaide, that machine gave away, and high temperature caused fire in that machine winding. Only researchers could do that, diagnostics. Then they develop a technique to actually monitor the temperature of the stator winding so that you could do something about that situation to prevent that. So what I'm saying is that that predictive maintenance, that condition-based maintenance technique is the way to go, okay? And there are so many things to be done, learned, whether it is vibration in machine, whether it is the current monitoring, whether it is partial discharge or whatever, different things in different kind of machine that you could identify these techniques and tools. Reliability-centered maintenance, or RCM, is the new way, even moving on from condition-based maintenance. And that is, not all assets are critically important. Not all assets have got equal criticality. Like, for example, a nuclear power station, for example, is very critical, and you need to monitor it very vigorously, as compared to maybe a mechanical pump that if it fails, is going to stop for a while, right? It's not that critical. So, but that mechanical pump is if in a nuclear power station and it provides cooling water into the reactor, very important, right? So the reliability-centered maintenance is prioritizing assets, knowing the criticality of assets, and then do maintenance to make sure that particular equipment runs reliably. So therefore, what I'm saying is that there are a lot of papers, a lot of ideas is going to be discussed in this conference, and I think as various speakers have mentioned, that it is now the era of Industry 4.0. We need to do things intelligently, and this conference, International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management, is going to provide many, many ideas in that regard. And I'm sure that people who will be presenting, learning from each other, people who will be talking to you, industry, academia, I think we can have a fruitful discussion over the next 2 days to advance the industry asset management in a meaningful way. I just wanted to finish by showing you 2 or 3 more slides, and then I think I'll finish my talk. So look at this. This is the way power generation is changing in Australia. This is Electricity Network Australia, they are saying. So if you look at this, the black is the coal. And you see by 2050, as we go toward net zero, there will be no coal-fired power plant. They're all disappearing, right? What is increasing is the blue, is the yellow, and the purple. Basically onshore wind, offshore wind, and grid-scale solar and hydro. That's the future. The fossil fuel, as you can see, is all depleting. So as they are depleting and the new technology in power generation coming, are we ready to understand those assets? Are we ready to know what is required? So you have got a lot to do, okay, to learn, and for the academicians like us to design new courses, training courses, micro-credentials, so people are prepared for it. Okay, the big battery. Okay, we are seeing a huge battery plants. Okay, that is grid scale. For example, this one is essentially a 350 megawatt battery plant in Murabul, not very far away from where our university is, and that is going to be a 250 megawatt virtual power plant for the East-West interconnector. Sorry, the Eastern Seaboard interconnector in Australia. What that essentially means that these battery banks, lithium ions, you need to maintain them. They're very expensive, right? And how you are going to monitor that they perform is very important. Their cycling is very important. And you need to know these battery technologies to understand. So are we ready to understand for this and maintain these new assets? Know these new assets. This is a diagram that shows that I mentioned earlier, that $160 billion in the next few years will be spent in Australia in terms of new transmission, new wind power generation, new solar, new battery projects. Okay, as you can see, that $160 billion total worth of investment. This is going to create a huge new energy asset base. We are not ready for it. The education is, the teaching programs are not ready for it. We need to service this industry. So this is an area that people need to learn. And this is what is going to get us to sustainability through renewable power generation. So this is important. Look, I just wanted to also show you very briefly here. Oh, I can't go back. Here I can. Okay, so this is another slide that you can see. And in this slide, you see that the green region of the world, they are actually moving. This is for the water industry. The water industry traditionally used the mechanical meters to monitor how much water you are consuming. But now, the world is moving towards smart meter. The electricity sector has gone there. The water industry is going there. So we are going to see huge proliferation of smart, intelligent meters in the water industry. That can then serve the basis of better way of water generation, water uses, water efficiency, water rates, and so on. Okay? So that means that this new asset that will come in the water industry, we have to be ready for this. These are new assets that's being created in the world. The next thing is electric vehicles. Everybody knows that they are coming, okay? Today, there are so many companies producing so many models that you see in this slide, okay? We are at infancy, but once this happens, all those petrol, I think that after 2050, we have to go to a museum to see a petrol-driven car. That's what will happen. So what is it now is that those petrol stations, what's going to happen to them? Have you ever thought of it? We need probably, we will be not seeing those petrol stations. Instead, or to fix our axles, fix our clutch. They will not be required anymore, right? But this motor maintenance, battery maintenance is where the jobs are going to be. Are we ready for that? And then finally, I think there's a huge education and research gaps that is emerging in this area. So people, organizations like IRMA, Federation University, we have got a role to educate future workforce, future skills, future training base, and researchers, the postdoctoral students, the doctoral students, the master students. We need to train them on new technology, on new research, new ways, new innovative techniques, so that we get ready ourselves to service this future asset management and asset maintenance strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was highly informative. We now request our guest of honor, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Bhatt Joshi, IPS, CMD, Kerala State Civil Supplies Corporation, for his insights.
Good morning to you all. Can I share the screen? How to share? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to you all. Really warm greetings to Professor Dr. Das, Director IRMA, and Professor H.K. Mishra, Professor in the IRMA itself, and other guests, distinguished guests. Really, it's a wonderful. Thank you for invitation for online. I was supposed to come there, but I couldn't come because of assembly session here. So my topic basically digital governance and public service role of PSU. That is the given to me. Am my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
How to go to next?
Yes.
Next slide.
So you are both visible and audible. You can proceed with the slides.
Yeah. Actually, just to begin with, maybe a small shairi for you all. I mean, जब तक आप लोगों का दिल और मन खूबसूरत रहेगा, दिल और मन खूबसूरत रहेगा, ये जरूर है कि खुदा भी मेहरबान होगा, just because the new year coming and the December is the ending in the current year. And the role of PSU also similar in the context. जब तक PSU का दिल मन खूब अच्छा रहता है, PSU start functioning, otherwise it goes down to very badly. Same way you can relate to that. You know, I'm just all of us know about the commanding heights to fathomless speeds. For PSU, typically the standard the role status of the PSU now, Nehruvian Malmun's time, it was commanding heights. I remember during my civil service preparation, all the PSUs were to be told commanding heights in the monopoly and commanding height. But now, after post-liberation, almost they have gone to fathomless speeds. This is the starting of my slogan for PSUs for role and status now. And I deal with the PSUs. Normally, it is my fourth PSU now. It has got induction effect. This is from PSU to private, some inefficiency going on, corruption also transcending from PSU, because PSUs are badly notorious for that. But it is not vice versa, because PSUs are very rarely learning from the efficiency and the less rent seeking from private. It is not coming vice versa. I don't know why. This has been debated in my central government deputation time and even state government also, but it is not happening mostly. Very few PSUs are learning that and trying to do, but many are not able to do that. But from PSU to private, because why I am telling this, because any contractor dealing with the PSU, but PSU, if it is perceived to be corrupt, the contractor also becomes corrupt. He also tried to play mischief. That's what I found my observation, whether statistically correct or not, but many times I've seen this. And if PSU is good, then a contractor or vendors or suppliers will also tend to be good and honest. Then obviously PSU presence is also detrimental sometimes. Right from beginning, we had a price preference for PSU, so by that the small industry, MSME, private industry got killed by some sort of a predatory pricing we can call. And that was price preference, 10 to 15% price was there, later on it was changed now. But still it is there. In the GEM also there is some price preference, some jute corporation price preference, some products are still price preference. Then quality compromise also was there, license Raj, you know. I think traditional history is that one private industry, I think Bajaj Chetak was fined for overproduction. I think it was one of the documented history itself during Lasses time. And again, vanishing act. Many PSUs came up in the TV production, scooter production, even some computer, they all vanished now. All state TV companies were there, state sponsored or state PSU TV companies, but nowhere there now because they all vanishing act. And there is a parasitical tendency. I think even now, even government, I feel that is some sort of a comfort level dealing with the government. Some comfort level. So they say, okay, give it to PSU, they do it. It has happened many times in any outsourcing activity also. If a government PSU takes the order, that's everybody feels comfortable and they don't want to venture into a risk into private sector. That's one of the government funding tendency. Many PSUs depend on the government funding. Government orders contracts also. And that's equity share in the all PSUs mostly very low compared to private industry. That's one of the, but when you come to the transformation, as a PSU, definitely I feel a public trust. There's no doubt on that. It's a public trust. We deal with the public money and obviously there is a government control. Politics is there. And public interest mandate, not of shareholder. Even we have shareholder in public PSUs, but we don't bother. It's a public interest mandate is there. Then digital governance, obviously 21st century inevitability, there's no doubt. I mean, that is historical banks protested for employee union, especially now without digitization, perhaps bank would have collapsed, especially some public sector banks. Availability, technology also very important because sometimes technology is not available, we can't go for. But now this technology is available, maybe future further developed technology will come. And business is business and nothing else. That should be the motto of the PSU but many people, we are not able to do that. That's one thing. Then price, quality, quantity, subsidy to customers, internal cost subsidization, one of the behavior problem. Then behavior to customers also, because in public sector, some sort of master slave phenomena creeps into our employees' mind. And they think that they're masterable. This is called the principal agent problem. Customers are not looked into that way, that they are primary persons to be serviced, but the information asymmetry also quite lot. I tell you, come to because in the public sector, one of the problem I'm finding that in some information asymmetry. This is the screen, our screenshot of our bank organization dashboard. This gives almost 100%. No need to carry any paper printout for giving anything, because these are also, I just show you, these are all hyperlinked also. Like NFSA got on right corner, if you click on the 213 figure, you will get the listing of all godowns plus the area, tonnage, capacity, everything is there. For every item is like that. So anywhere you go and suppose any discussion, meetings, all those things, no need to carry a printout, all those things just show. And many people demand, suddenly they demand the data, and I am able to give this. This is one of the things we did in my organization. That's one of the digital transformation, made it a dashboard to be giving 100%. And public sector is an open organization, few secrets to be kept inside, all three in the public domain only. So that's what we had done. This is one of the innovation we did it, and we are finding very good feedback from many people. Recently, even Indian Oil Corporation came to me and wanted to advise on this, developing this type of website. This is one of the example I'm giving. This we did, and it all hyperlinked. Everything is available. In this itself, one can know. And we have got some sort of online system of taking the data, like our outlet sale, real dated and time-stamped outlet sale bottom line. Then we have got medical store, that also is there. Even our fuel pumps division also get real and data sales, and we have got LPG also. There are another 4 verticals now, and these are all coming real time. There's no doubt. Even sometimes, many times happens that by this only we can get to know the cash flow very easily. Earlier it was very difficult because across the state we have got almost 1633 outlets, very large, pervasive, and even 45,000 FMCG items. It's a compared to big organization in very rarely find in other states, but in Kerala somehow it is a very almost we have got 65 lakh customer. It goes to 1 crore during festival time. Next, basically this is one of the innovation we did, digital governance. We had a annual festival called Onam, and during them government gives around 400 crore worth of the Onam kit, free Onam kit. It has got 13 items and then a cloth backpack. And this time, first time, every year, earlier year, my experience, now I was here or not, but every time government was getting real shock from the media, public, that they were into a totally shabby type of thing. This time, first time, as far my memory goes, even government also appreciated big way that the first time no issues came, no problem, complaint from anybody, from any media or public, and it went very well because of the one innovation, that mobile app concept. We developed a mobile app to capture the real-time data, dated and time-stamped. And in that, what happened, we had 14,000 packing centers, and the 13 items to be packed every packing center. And then all items were coming from outside Kerala, because Kerala produces hardly anything, whichever items. These are all rice and some masala or turmeric powder, and the jaggery, all those things were there. So sugar. So these are all coming from outside, and all coming by various that lead time is there, supply chain managed, and then packed and delivered. Almost 86 lakh kits were distributed through 14,341 ration shop in a window period of 15 days. You must please understand the 15 days window period. It's a very short time, and all 13 are packed properly. It is a manual pack, because bulk purchase it comes in big bags, but we have to manually pack and deliver it. And this is the screenshot of a mobile app, how things happened. And it was real time. This, why it happened, is the distributed mechanism, because 14,000 centers were uploading data. Then obviously anybody can have a login password was there. Of course, everybody can see and access. Then the corrective mechanism can be done by distributed. So that delegation was quite high in this, instead of one fellow monitoring in that. And another, I'll just how digital transformation and governance has to be done, because we made every vertical almost a mobile app based now, because we have got a lot of verticals in my organization. First time started with actually our how to Google search is there for the Google Maps and all those things, but we integrated Google Map with our own outlet mapping, so that everybody can easily locate our outlet easily, because it's rural area, urban area, both ways there. And normally Google also suitable, but we integrated Google Map with our mobile app, and many people are really benefiting of that, because otherwise tracing the particular outlet, very difficult many times, and my driver also does the same thing. I use this one. Then we have got another, quite a number of government schemes are there. We have the NFSA food distribution. Then we have got a midday meal scheme is there. We now tracking the lorries transporting this item from our depot to ration shop with called GPS tracking. Almost 475 lorries are tracked every day. And then we have got the estate portal. We have got a lot of lands. Nobody knew what the thing. We have documented. All the estates are in the mobile app, so everybody can understand, and everybody can see and understand what is there. Then we have got online sales and stock board. We are across the right from top northern of Kerala to southernmost and eastern and western end. All outlet onboarded in our one mobile app. In that real-time dated stock is available and sales also real-time. This is like a ERP, but in a very customized ERP system. And of course, we have got online services, home delivery system, online booking, all that also there. A lot of the mobile app based, and plus this is technology, leveraging technology, and how to make it almost like a business oriented. That's we tried. I'm going to slightly speedier because time will take 15 minutes. Then this is the, actually I told you GPS system, this is government mandated. We have to do this because the lorries has to be going in the particular prescribed route only, not diversion, so that there is no pilferage or siphonage of the stock. It's a very large items. And of course we are covering with the CCTV 12 godown we have started. I think it'll go, it has a lot of expenditure. That's what one of the we are finding, but still we have started on that. Now, digital payments. One I found, we made all centralized digital payment. In that, what happened, financial management became very easier for me to decide on my finance. Earlier, we were allocating funds to particular depots or particular sub-units, and they were paying. We said, no, that is very difficult because the same, I'll tell you example, central government also doing. I worked with central government in Joint Secretary Panchayati Raj. The PFMS is another game changer now. Because the virtual allocation given to ministries and they pay from the PFMS, so finance ministry has total knowledge on how much being paid and how to manage the money with the limitation of resources. That same practice I followed in the organization now, and we are able to manage to satisfy and pay to maximum payables to various parties, suppliers or even rentals or salary. Paddy processing, we are able to time manage also the fund position now. Very easy to know, and that has got a very big result for us. Earlier, they were very difficult. Like digital payment supplier, 1,821 crore we have paid. This is, of course, we have to pay. We are buying from them, but this has got a very, and digital communication, because in our information accessibility, one of the serious problem that many people say that I don't know, other manager I don't know. So what I said was a WhatsApp groups, also another way of digital, whatever the possible digital communication. It happened multi-segment, vertical and horizontal. I made a crisscross. I learned from Bill Gates because he was encouraging in the Microsoft. So that learning I took it and I did that. Now nobody can complain that he doesn't know or he was not even informed. So that e-office also rather access anywhere, anytime. That's one of the advantage you must have. Central government, almost many ministries are there. State government also we are doing. And ERP everybody knows about. I need not elaborate on that. So another thing that now we are promoting digital payment by customers. We are almost 70 to 80% with the QR code, EPOS machine. But unfortunately, it is only 30% coming by digital payment, all 70%. This is the, because you know, during demonetization, only 16-17 lakh crore currency was available. Now it is 38 lakh crore currencies are available in the market. So obviously that somehow it is not happening. Maybe some are doing, telling the digital, but it is small denomination, but large purchases are not happening in the digital way. That's the reality. From bank also tell that. We are trying to promote, but still it's not happening that way. And then we have got a paddy schemes. Government schemes, we have paddy software, that is all the paddy procurement. My organization sole agency for state government to procure all 8.5 lakh metric ton every year. And we pay to farmers almost 2,000 crore almost every year. And we have the system of rice mill contract. They process to rice, from paddy to rice, and they supply. And we supply to almost 14,000 ration shop. That's a government scheme, and that is the way we operate. Plus, we have got a midday meal scheme. I think it is coming on the screen, or I don't know, but a midday meal scheme, that is the around 14,000 some odd schools are there. That also is supplied, the fortified rice, that is iron fortified rice is supplied to them. almost 67,000 metric ton rice is supplied to the every year. That is also my organization does that. And that is again through digitally only, because manually not possible. The paddy software also, the farmer registration is there, farmer payment through this system, plus it is land record map, so that nobody can, ghost farmer cannot supply the paddy. That is also one thing. And secondly, we tried Aadhaar enabled, but we didn't get permission for Aadhaar system, biometric system in this, because there is some security issues. We didn't get permission on that. But still then, even allocation to rice mill, how much paddy to be taken, lifted for paddy processing, that also online system, depending on the bank guarantee and security deposit with us. These are all small innovations in our digital transformation, so that nobody can have any complaints are there still, I understand, but they are visible, all things are visible to them. So obviously the grievance mechanism automatically resolved by some sort of a digitization thing. And another, we have also operated NFSA and the PMGKY, Prime Minister, that Garib Kalyan Anand Yojana. That also, because you know the government has extended this thing, that free ration something 5 kilo per person or something like that. So similarly, NFSA security, the Food Security Act also, that is 35 kilo per household. These are all schemes we operate, and it's a very large scheme across Kerala, and the population is almost you can say 3 crore, something like that. So these are all operations we do through digital transaction. And badminton I told. Then another very interesting thing, I think other states also operate. Here 13 item given at the price, subsidized price, which was prevailing at 2016. 13 item, it is all food items, mostly used in all household, and every family is given almost 160 rupees per month per family subsidies there. That is my organization, BST, government gives very small amount to compensate on that, and every month 35 lakhs ration card use this. So we are almost having 500 crore loss per annum to my organization, but we cover it up by some sort of a profit by some other FMCG item sales and cross subsidize it. This is one of the public service we do. Of course, other states also must be doing that, but this is one of the very unique phenomena. It is not rice and wheat, it is other commodity mostly. It is not rice wheat. Rice wheat is also government scheme is there, which central government and state government support through the assets of, but these are another different scheme, and it's a good intervention. Many people feel about it, happy about it. Then new initiative, like we did it public service. Now we thought only domestic area servicing customer is not enough. We started tea export. It's my organization 48-year-old history, but only this last June only we could export tea export to Gulf countries, and almost 20 metric ton already gone, 36 lakh earning already done. Then we started Supply Co Research Training Academy. That's what IRMA, we want to have a discussion in that, how to train. We have got 12,000 employees, large strength, and we wanted to research this, how to, what product to, what pricing, all those things. We have our own brand also, we call Sabri brand, in the spices, atta, then oil, coconut oil. We have got around 19-20 item in our own brand. And that brand itself we are exporting to Gulf now. Then we started another Supply Co Archive Museum, because this museum is only not for the historical chronological history only, but it is training also. We have a certain tea, we do tea lot of 300 metric ton per month sales. So we wanted to have a tea standardization, the taste and flavor, because tea is a very complex commodity in the market. So that also very taste and flavor, the different garden, all those matter a lot. So we want to do coffee also. We have various product. We wanted to make it also training also. Then upcoming Supply Co consulting services, we have got a lot of infrastructure projects coming up. So we wanted to do another consultancy service also, subsidiary. That's still in offering, because the board has to approve and continue with that. And this is a tropical, this is a rural area. We have got every panchayat one Mavali store, it's called Mavali store, the brand name. It will be there, every panchayat minimum one. Of course, urban markets are there, hyper market, supermarket, then people's bazaar. In a various nomenclature, we have started the concept. Almost 633 supermarkets are there. We venture into medical, fuel pump, then LPG outlet, then these are all. I thank you very much for the kind listening, and once again, really thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful session. Moving ahead, we request our chief guest, Dr. Ann Gibbs, who has joined us online to address the delegates.
Good morning, and thank you for the invitation to participate as the chief guest to this conference. And I'm so sorry that I'm not able to be with you in person in Anand. And I congratulate the organisers of the conference for putting together such a terrific program. And I'm sure that the papers presented will generate much discussions in highlighting rural assets for sustainable development. On the 15th of November, the world reached a milestone. The UN announced that there are now 8 billion humans on the planet, and it's predicted that Earth's population increase will rise at a lower pace than it has over the past and take 15 years or so to reach 9 billion. In order for the planet to support the growing population, we do need to adopt sustainable ways of living, lower our greenhouse gas emissions, and conserve and protect our natural resources and environment. The Sustainability Development Goals are the world's blueprint pathway toward a happy and healthy future for the planet, our people and our prosperity. In order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the objectives of the Paris Agreement to limit global temperature rise, it's critical that we reduce our unsustainable patterns of products and consumption and mitigate against future environmental damage, whilst adapting what we have to meet expected future conditions. So collaboration is required at the global, the country, the regional, local level and across industry sectors and systems and organisations to mitigate and adapt to new climatic conditions. So let's focus on the adaptation element and the risks associated with infrastructure throughout its life cycle, particularly those risks and hazards related to changes in our climate. Infrastructure is a standout as a pathway to achieving the SDGs and underpins 70% of the SDG goals. Infrastructure underpins economic growth and delivers the services that are essential to improve livelihoods and well-being. At the same time, the unsustainable, poorly planned and maintained infrastructure can have disastrous effects on the environment and societies. And disasters are seriously undermining development, and development depends to a great extent on reducing our exposure to disaster risk and building resilience into existing and future infrastructure systems. My references today are mainly considering the climate risks and hazards. Infrastructure is built to service the needs of a community. Roads provide access, houses provide shelter, and water systems provide drinking water. So these infrastructure systems need to be able to withstand the shocks and stresses when hit by climatic events such as floods, fire, earthquakes and cyclones, and then be able to function again quickly after such events to provide their service to the community. An example of a complete breakdown in infrastructure systems is the devastating 8.7 magnitude earthquake which struck the Indonesian island of Nias on the 29th of March 2005 while most of the country was sleeping. Water, road, communication, power, education and health systems were broken. Cascading effects of the broken infrastructure could be seen in the supply chain. Many of those who died were the business people and traders, so the farmers in the highlands did not now have anyone to sell their rubber to, and then they didn't have any money to buy rice to feed their families. So the livelihoods of many were at risk, and the economy was suffering from the impact of inadequately built houses, having a widespread effect on the community as well. Infrastructure in this region would need to be built to cater for the known earthquake hazards of the area and subsequent hazards of landslides that may occur after annual rains, with plans put in place to save lives and livelihoods and reduce the amount of damage should such an event occur again. So in other words, our critical infrastructure systems need to be planned to be resilient to withstand unexpected hazards and be able to recover quickly after an unexpected event. This includes adapting to the local environmental conditions. A lot has been achieved in the past 10 years in saving lives during extreme climatic events. For example, 10 years ago, an extreme intensity cyclone killed around 10,000 people in India, whilst during the pandemic, India saw 5 cyclones and some of which were of equal strength to that of the cyclone 10 years ago, yet numbers of deceased were in double digits. Now, technology has assisted in the reduction and loss of life, as we now have apps for phones and websites and better early warning systems in place. However, the loss of infrastructure and livelihoods is still too great. 2/3 of economic losses associated with disasters are due to infrastructure damage. So as climate hazards become more extreme and frequent, these costs are set to rise. So there's a need to make the existing infrastructure systems more resilient to climate and disaster risk, thereby ensuring sustainable development and reducing that yellow bit on the graph there. So ISO 55000 is the International Asset Management Standard, and this can help organisations recognise the importance of coordinating relevant disaster risk reduction measures. It offers guidance on developing contingency and resilience plans as part of an asset management framework. And it also facilitates the implementation of emergency preparedness, response and recovery, and long-term development plans. The Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction provides guidance for an organisation on development of a resilience strategy and how to integrate contingency planning into the organisation's asset management system. Now, both these documents were developed by international cooperation between countries. Looking at investment, to achieve resilient infrastructure systems, we need to invest in them, and we need to look long-term and intergenerational in making our infrastructure resilient. Building for the short term can accumulate a debt for the next generation. This is an issue for developing countries that are building large infrastructure that suffer from huge infrastructure deficit, and also an issue for countries where advanced economies have infrastructure completing its life cycle and needs to be replaced or repaired. We're also in a time of big infrastructure spend around the world, with more infrastructure being built in the next 20 years than in the past 200 years. A 2019 World Bank report says that for every $1 spent in strengthening infrastructure resilience, a $4 benefit is realised in avoiding social and economic losses. So in managing this infrastructure, project planning and governance is key. Governments have a role to play as they set policy such as asset management policy. They support building codes for the built environment, and they can also provide incentives to encourage compliance with the building codes and guidelines. They can provide funding and set the funding rules. They control procurement processes, and they also controlled land use planning by restricting building in areas where the ability to service infrastructure and where the high risk of loss of lives and livelihoods becomes unacceptable in areas likely to be exposed to extreme climatic events. Now, in Australia, we're seeing governments mandating an asset management policy. So government agencies are developing an asset management system or framework allowing integrated planning and service delivery. Governments can provide investment funding, and enough funding needs to be provided to operate and maintain the existing infrastructure over its life cycle. So existing infrastructure is not left to deteriorate until it's no longer able to withstand the strains of the changing weather and unable to perform to the level it was originally designed. Maintenance and operational phases of an asset's life cycle typically account for about 4/5 the total cost of the asset over its lifetime. Funding for the life cycle of an asset was not always being provided, so many assets are badly in need of repair and not able to withstand the weather conditions predicted for the future. So this leads to reactive maintenance and then maintenance backlog and run to failure of asset scenarios. So we have existing infrastructure and the new infrastructure competing for funds, and this infrastructure needs to meet the needs of the community, needs to be fit for purpose, it needs to be compatible to its environment, including the climate risk and low carbon emissions, and be cost effective. So it's all a balance. And an asset management system is a systematic way to manage the assets with resilience integrated into each stage of the life cycle and at each level of an organisation. The Asset Management Council has developed 3 generic models that can be used by 3 different groups of people. within an organisation that all want to extract different information relating to the assets of an organisation. The concept model is used by top management. The systems model is used by middle management, and this is where you'll find the balancing of the cost, risk and performance. And you'll find the scenario planning. The capability delivery model, or the operational process, is essentially the process from the systems model and is where the managing of assets occurs over the life cycle of an asset. It's where the maintenance and reliability tasks are undertaken and the planning and construction. At the project level, governance is also needed, and this is where resilience and adaptation can be built in at stages of the life cycle through the engineering, design, contingency planning and maintenance. Some aspects to highlight are considering how the built environment can be made sympathetic to its environment so that you leave your least footprint. Take note of lessons learnt from past custodians of the land in how to live and build structures within that particular geographic area. Use appropriate materials and use nature-based solutions where possible as a first choice. And take note of the latest research and technology, which can also assist. Academia and industry professionals are doing some great work in researching and advancing ways to future-proof our assets, and they're changing and the sharing of our experiences and research at events such as this conference, with things like alternatives to the use of concrete, because concrete is one of the most common used construction materials around the world, and it's said to account for about 6% of the global carbon emissions. We're also looking at smarter, more sustainable construction techniques, how infrastructure can withstand harsher conditions, looking at soft options and options that blend well with nature, as well as ways to kickstart the infrastructure after an extreme fire, flood or cyclone event, and looking at how to use technology to assist in early warning protection of infrastructure, such as placing sensors in drainage pipes to identify where potential blockages are in the network, impacting flow capacity and providing real-time information. In terms of mitigation of greenhouse gases, we are seeing many initiatives to transition from fossil fuels to green, renewable sources of energy, and there are some papers in this conference dedicated to these challenges. The effects of increasing CO2 in the atmosphere and predictions for global warming and how that will affect our weather are very sobering. However, with global collaboration, there is hope that we can collectively lower the CO2 emissions, and this has been done before. In 1987, the hole in the ozone layer over the Antarctic was of great concern to the world and was attributed to the use of CFCs. CFCs are found in products such as spray cans and are used in refrigeration. In 1989, some 197 countries banned the use of CFCs under the Montreal Agreement. And as this graph shows, there was a continued increase in the amount of CFCs in our atmosphere from the ban date in 1997, but around 1995 it peaked, and then the amount of CFC gases that are recorded in the atmosphere have gone on a downward trajectory. And the scientists are actually even reporting that the hole in the ozone layer is being repaired. So this is an example of world collaboration, which provides us with hope that we can avert disasters such as too much CO2 in the atmosphere, even though it seems we are moving much too slowly and transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy, such as solar, wind, hydrogen, hydro and thermal. So in conclusion, we see that many collaborations on a global scale are providing pathways to sustainability in things like the agreement of the SDGs, the Paris Agreement, the Montreal Agreement, international standards such as ISO 55001 and the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. To meet the SDGs, mitigation and adaptation need to go hand in hand, together with a general reduction in consumption of resources if we are to have a happy ending. And the best interventions on climate change do both mitigate its future extent and adapt to its impacts. Not one sector or one job type can achieve this in isolation. But with 8 billion people, we have many opportunities and can all work together to allow our planet to support a growing population, equitable use of resources, and we have amongst us today at this conference the brightest and cleverest people who are able to assist the world for the future benefit of the planet. Collaboration is key. We know what we need to do, we just have to do it. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and for being with us. Moving on, now we have a special address by Dr. Kiran Aman. Sir, we welcome you to the dais.
Good morning, everyone. We understand that we are having a sort of time, so I won't spend much time. Still, we understand that once we are sitting on this side, so we understand your situation. So just I would bring some energy on everybody. Just follow what I say. You just move your neck on this side, please, everyone. Move on this side, move up, move down. Something more exercise which we have. I think are you feeling something different? Okay. So on behalf of IEEE Gujarat section, I warm and heartily welcome to everyone. The dignitaries on the dais, in particular, the chief guest of today's event, Dr. Annie Gibbs, who has joined online. The guest of honor, Dr. Syed Islam. The guest of honor, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar. Dr. Dilip Rath, Chairman of IRMA. Dr. Umakant Das, the Director of IRMA. Professor Duncan Bentley, the Vice Chancellor, and the President of Federation University. The organizing chairs, Dr. Hare Krishna Mishra, Dr. Gopinath, Dr. Raghuveer Pai, Dr. Shyam Singh, all the organizing committee members, technical committee members, keynote speakers, session chairs, dear faculty friends, jury members, the authors and participants. Indeed, a great pleasure to see everyone on the third international conference, that is ICMIAM 2022. Just I would share one important message with you and I would conclude. The asset management, which is a more essential part, it has become a global issue and all the scientists and the people, they are working on that. As Dr. Islam mentioned that today's world, the asset management which has reached to 200 plus billions of US dollar in the size. And every year it has been increasing 25%. So you can understand what is the demand of that. Now, just I would share that what is the importance of you that you are presenting the paper. My humble request to each and everyone, whatever the idea, whatever the work which you are carrying out, please continue in that because there is a very demand of this work and the industry, the people, the government, they are looking for the problems and their solutions. If you feel that you have worked excellent in your field, then you can apply for the patent. Even the incubators, even our university, I am from Ganpat University, we have 300 acres of land and 17,000 students are studying across the campus. We give a luxury to the innovators, especially the students, the faculty members, those who are working. Irrespective of they are from Ganpat University, they may be from anywhere. You apply you will get the fund. If you have idea, just you apply. It doesn't mean that the idea must be executed successfully and the outcome must be there. No, it's not that. But some efforts which you have carried out, and that is a value for that. And even as a part of the Make in India mission, Honorable Prime Minister is focusing on innovative idea, these projects and everything. We have the tie-up with Cal Poly Pomona University, where our Honorable President Sri Ganpat Bhai Patel, who is an alumni of this university. What the advantage our students are getting, just would like to bring to your kind notice, our students from engineering and their students from engineering, they are like working on a collaborative project. So which kind of project, just would like to share. Our student would design one car over here. Their students, they would design their car at USA, at Cal Poly University. Our student would control their car, so they would drive from here, from India, and their students would control our car from USA. The students, they are working on that project. We are funding them because once the fund is there, we need a team of the students and they are working excellently. Our upcoming projects, that is an electrical vehicle. We would be, in the coming time, we would be establishing a charging station, and charging station, to establish charging station is a normal thing. But what the things which we are planning, the liquid waste, that is liquid, the water from the gutter, which you can say, solid waste would be converted into gas. This gas would be converted into electricity. This electricity would be helpful for the charging station, and the electrical vehicle would be charged. And the electrical vehicle would be designed by the students, not purchased from the anyway. So we are also funding heavily for this particular project. So I mean to say that please work on the live projects, and the Indian government and across the globe, the industry and the government, they are encouraging on the live projects. I would like to share that this conference has become a part of the IEEE. It's a very prestigious, this IEEE Explore. Your paper is there, and if you get a chance to publish it in a proceeding of IEEE Explore, then it's a creditable. Why? But make sure that the quality parameters which need to be satisfied. Then and then that is possible. With a lot of efforts of Dr. Misra, we could sanction this conference, and it is a matter of pride. The second thing, in IEEE Explore, more than 5 million of records, full papers are available. And every month, more than 15 millions of records are downloaded by the different researchers, students, or everything. The volunteers across the globe, they are more than 4.5 lakh. So the students, the faculty members, the professionals, they are getting ample opportunities in terms of if they wish to attend the conferences across the globe, they would get a travel grant. Once they are working on any live projects, they would get a huge fund in terms of dollars, and the networking and the events and everything which happens through IEEE. With this particular note, wish a grand success for this particular event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. With undue gratitude, we present the token of appreciation in the form of a memento to the dignitaries who have devoted their precious time and graced the event with their presence. Firstly, we request Dr. Umakant Dash, Director IRMA, to present memento to Dr. Syed Islam.
Next, we request Dr. H.K. Mishra to present the token of appreciation to Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay.
We also request Dr. Mishra sir to present the memento to Dr. Raghuveer Pai.
Requesting Dr. Satyendra Pandey to extend the token of gratitude to Dr. Kiran Amin.
Once again, requesting Dr. H.K. Mishra to present the memento to Dr. Umakant Dash. Now, although we are at the end of the inaugural ceremony, we are yet to express our gratitude to many people. Therefore, we request Dr. Satyendra Pandey to propose the vote of thanks.
I understand I have a difficult job to do here. Thanking everyone involved in ICMIAM 2022 organization. But we have come to an end of a very stimulating inaugural session. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend my profound thanks to the chief patron, patrons, partnering institutions, Federation University Australia, Manipal Academy of Higher Education, UNU Portugal, Loyola University of Technology. I am thankful to the vice chancellors and directors of these institutions in putting up this conference together and enabling the entire conference in kind of multiple ways through their inputs, multiple intellectual inputs, through the support of various faculty members involved there. I am thankful to Chairman IRMA, Dr. Dilip Rath, Chief Patron of this conference, Director IRMA, Professor Umakant Dash, Professor Duncan Bentley, Vice Chancellor and President, Federation University Australia, Lieutenant General Dr. M.D. Venkatesh, Vice Chancellor Mahe, Professor Syed Islam, Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, Federation University, Australia, Dr. Ann Gibbs, CEO, Asset Management Council, Australia, Dr. Kiran Amin, Chair, IEEE Gujarat Section, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Padjoshi, IPS and CMD, Kerala State Civil Supplies Corporation, and Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay, Federation University, Australia, Dr. Raghuveer Pai, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. I'm also very grateful to all of you for setting up the right kind of tone for the conference through your address, which were not only very insightful, but at the same time very stimulating in terms of the kind of conversation and dialogue that it is going to bring forward for the entire conference. Any intellectual or knowledge output when it comes to Fruition, it requires a lot of support coming from organizations which can put in or help with the resources and support that that enables such kind of pursuits. So on that note, I am very thankful to IEEE Gujarat section for support for this conference. We are also very thankful to the sponsors such as CSIR India, Union Bank, Sahaj Retail Limited, among others, for extending their support for the conference in multiple ways as they could. I also extend warm thanks to the faculty, staff and student volunteers from IRMA who worked tirelessly to bring this conference to the Fruition and beginning of this conference. At the end, my sincere thanks to Professor H.K. Mishra and the organizing committee for bringing this conference to IRMA. Over 1 year of hard work has gone behind putting this conference together and inviting all the speakers, all the track chairs, all the session leaders and the researchers from around the globe coming together and presenting their work in this conference. Thank you everyone for joining us for the inaugural ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we will break for the high tea, which is organized in the ETDC lawns. We will resume for the keynote session post the tea break sharply at 12:15. We request the dignitaries to join us at the chimes for the group photograph. Others can depart for the tea break. Thank you. The keynote will be resumed in the same auditorium at 12:15.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. After the inaugural session this morning, we are now moving to the first keynote session of the conference, which is an important session as it sets out the directions and establishes the underlying theme of the conference. And we have five eminent speakers from India and abroad. And they will speak on diverse topics which have both local and global impact. And actually there are 4 sessions, there are 5 speakers, and each will consist of 20-minute sessions and followed by question and answer for 5 minutes. So I request all of you to keep the questions towards the end of every session. Kindly ask the questions after the speaker has completed his presentation. Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay is the program coordinator for the postgraduate program in Maintenance and Reliability Engineering at Federation University, Australia. I invite him on stage. Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay. And I also invite, I think I'll introduce Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay. Dr. Chattopadhyay has a PhD from the University of Queensland, has 40 years of experience in industries and universities in maintenance, reliability engineering, risk engineering, and asset management. He is a postgraduate program coordinator for maintenance and reliability engineering at Federation University, chair of the Gippsland chapter of Asset Management Council Australia. He was past chair of the Brisbane and Gladstone chapters of Asset Management Council Australia. He was also the past president of the Australian Society for Operation Research and vice president of Maintenance Engineering Society of Australia and industry reviewer of ISO 55000 series standards on asset management and total asset management plan of Queensland government. Dr. Chattopadhyay supervised 18 PhD and master students and has secured over 2.5 million Australian dollars of funding and published 170 international journals and conference papers. The topic he will be speaking on today is integrated asset management a key to sustainable development of rural and regional communities. And as Dr. Chattopadhyay prepares for his presentation, I would like to also invite our online guests. You can start preparing for your presentation, Dr. Chattopadhyay. And as he is preparing for his presentation, we have an online guest from Mozambique, Dr. Dane Amade, who is going to be the next speaker. And together with him, we have Professor Luis Soares Barbosa, who is the Deputy Director of the United Nations University in Portugal. They are the fellow panelists today for this keynote session, including the others who were there, Professor Uday Kumar from Luleå University of Technology, Sweden, and also Mr. Umakantan Anand, who is the Head of Reliability, Static Equipment and Reliance Industries Limited. Thank you. Dr. Chattopadhyay, you can start your presentation.
Thank you. I'll talk about asset management because many of you might be first time understanding that one. So contextualizing that. And then my whole life is in the physical assets, power plants, railways, manufacturing, infrastructures. Those are difficult, but there are softer areas, societies, social assets. I call it those are harder. So more and more the communities and future generations are talking about decision makers to think about those aspects in their decisions. So I'll share what is in that space, some of the examples, because whatever we talk, you will forget. The pictures, case studies, stories you take back. I'm not here to preach. I'm here to share and influence your thinking. You are the leaders and future leaders in this audience. We need only few people to believe in these, and you become the part of the change makers. So please listen and try to internalize that one and take on message how you can be the part of that big problem as a solution. So, asset is like any item, anything, any entity. Like this building is asset. Within these rooms are some of the things like this laptop, like those projectors, whatever we are working on. And then there are the entities, not physical assets, like the mobile network, like the airspace, goodwill, knowledge, traditions, culture. Even I push that boundary up to the spiritual assets. So these things you cannot touch and feel. ISO 55000, please go into the Google, download some of the free things, try to understand. It is a documented system, not the IT system, which tells what needs to be done. But how that has to be done, the organizations, you people will have to make it work. So it is not just like, oh, this is something, I buy that one, fit it like that one, like switch on, switch off. It doesn't work. My experience, I was involved with the Gladstone Power, where the power generation availability went down to less than 60%. The company was nearly bankrupt 2007. The general manager was with us gave $1.5 million, these generators, to these universities, 3 universities competing. They talked together and then came. And when they told that we have given them money, we want to see what we can do. And that is the time he took back that message and implemented. From this nearly bankrupt situation to 2010, it became 96% availability, and 2012 was the award winner of Asset Management Excellence by the Engineers Australia. All these are in the public domain. So these are the standards. What they talk about, those physical assets, and then the asset management system. I'm telling that documented system, they are the IT system to support those things. There are other systems, financial systems. There are some of the management system. There are the quality system, this environmental system. There are some other things, risk system. So there are several systems. You are the management students or the researchers. This is the area where it is the engineering. Don't hit the, oh, I am not engineer. Link to the IT in terms of data, extracting information, taking decisions. And also this management, what do you do with that one? So even if you are the general manager, CEOs of the organization, you may not be an engineer, you need to understand, appreciate, and take risk-informed decision. That is where you make a difference. You don't have to, this is something like the engineer, it's not a, yeah, you own that one, please don't do that. Next couple of minutes, try to understand where you can be part of the solution. Then looking into the asset management part. It is not managing the assets. What do you do with the assets? Why the assets will exist? Like Queensland Rail is talking about, we are not the asset owners for the railways. We are a community service. Taking people from anywhere to anywhere, reliable, safe, cost-effective manner, where they want, when they want. Taking goods, they can trust on us. So that is why, try to change. It is not asset. What you do with the asset. Otherwise, the asset is not asset, it is a liability. And finally, you look into the whole business, the context of the organization, the objective of that organization, it must be aligned. If it is not, you have different things and it will not work. So, I'm talking about the physical assets, then there are the financial assets, then there are the human assets, people. It is people like you make a difference. Not the systems, not the technologies, not the asset. So remember, after all these things I'm talking about technology and the decision making and mathematics, I always tell, at the end of the day, it is the people, people, people. You can make it happen. So believe in yourself. If you believe, don't pay money to the external people. If you do not understand your problem, they will tell, I'll solve your problem, tell them, get lost. You use internal people, build the capability, they will lead, and they will make a difference. Human asset. Then the information, all this talking about these gadgets and this data analytics and the AI and all these things. You need to understand what is the asset, what is the condition, what you need to do. You have to take the data, then extract those things, interpret, and take the informed decision. Again, the decision is whose perspective. Like the butterfly needs oxygen, but can that take the oxygen from the water? The fish needs oxygen, but can that take oxygen from the air? So you have to understand who are the stakeholders, who are the right holders. So please remember, when you are taking decision, you are not taking decision on behalf of somebody else for those who are going to be impacted. First thing, what it tells about the value. Whatever we do is a value driven. You talk about money, companies will tell, no, we don't have money. You ask for something, a big thing, no, we don't have money. But you show where is the value. Money will come from anywhere. I have proven that in my life. Whenever we started this conference, after this 2018, Raghuveer did not tell the whole story. We applied for an Australian funding one. Harikrishna was a part of that, and then it did not go through. It was a failure because they told it is not fitting exactly. We are out our objective. It was related to the hygiene and those areas from the science. What do we do? The people told that we believe this is a good thing, we can do it. Even when I was talking to our university, they were telling, yeah, we can do that, but you have to put that business case and do those things, because always, in any management, we do that to manage the risk. Then we talked, and Raghuvi told them, no, this is a good thing. Let me talk to our people. And it is good that you start with India. That is how it happened. So, and each and every one is self-sustained, has not taken money from, yes, our time, other things, those had taken. So, again, telling the value, what you are telling. All these people, they're coming, they're investing their time. You are coming here to listen. It's your valuable time, because you are taking back some value. So assets must be value-driven, decisions must be value-driven. It must be aligned. If the assets related to Indian context not aligned with what is the needs, what are the systems, it will not work. If you get some of the things and try to plug it, it will not work. It must be aligned. And at the end of the day, it is leadership. I have done this experiment several times. I've talked to the leaders. They believe, they internalize, they implement, it works. Leaders make the difference, because they're not just like being popular. They take on many times difficult choice. I'm telling my personal story. I lost my brother Saturday. I canceled this trip. This is something I care for. I talked to my sister-in-law. I talked to my nephews. They told that if your brother, he supported me. When I was 8 years old, lost my dad, he made me what I am. He would have also done this karma, selfless thing, taking something. I had to take that difficult choice. So my heart is bleeding, but I am here to tell you that thing. If I can do that in my situation, you can believe in yourself and you can make a difference to the organization, to the country, to the world. I told one thing. The history of Indian philosophy is telling that Atma Moksha. That means you are good is not good enough. Try for the excellence. And our purpose is not just for us, these companies. Jagat Hitaya. So that means beyond the company, the society, the country, and beyond the country, the whole world, beyond the whole world, the galaxy. So that is the leadership. Then the assurance. If it is a talk, it does not work. So assurance comes from, we need to have the systems, standards, training. People will tell that one, there are the models, there are the tools, you know what is the condition, you are taking those things, doing this cost benefit analysis, and you assure what you are doing, that will achieve what you are objective. So please start thinking. Context of the business, what do we do with the assets, whose point of view, and then the decision must be based in a holistic way. I'll skip these things quickly because these are the physical assets in terms of the asset life cycle. You know, many of you in the management or in the engineering, life cycle cost, you get the data, you put the cost and look into that procurement cost, these operation and maintenance cost, disposal cost, and then decision comparing apple to apple. Those are known. Those tools are there. But tools are tools. You need to know which tool you need to use when and how. That is where the experience and expertise will come. So assets in rural area is neglected in many places in the world. It's not only here. Even if you go, I was in the rural. For my wife was going through some medical conditions. I was in Glaston. For the treatment, other thing, I had to come to Brisbane because the specialists do not go to those remote places. You do not have that infrastructure. And one day, I was traveling like this. I'm passionate. My wife came for the treatment. My younger daughter was home alone, and the flight was in the afternoon. She was caught in the traffic, and then my daughter was crying, telling that, listen, Qantas, can you please stop the flight? My mom is not there. My daddy is not there. I'm home alone. They told, honey, we're trying our best. And luckily, flight was delayed. She got it. What I'm telling that these are the challenges in the rural and regional places. You don't get the expertise and some of the small things. The resources are coming from there, but there is no critical mass. So, infrastructure assets, mining, gas, it is coming from those places, remote places. Looking into forestry, agriculture, where the food is coming from. We call Anna Brahma. Food is food, what we stand for. It's coming from the rural and regional, this agriculture, those places. So, natural assets like land, water, air, mountains. You go to, I went to Kedar Badri. It's an 18-kilometer treacherous street, but the moment you go there, you find, and the spiritual assets, I feel that it is worth. What I'm telling, I went to one of the forums and there the Aboriginal people, they are telling, I live in a place 1,000 kilometers from my land, the water is coming from that, I drove 150 kilometers and then touched the water that made my day. People go to the Ganges. What is the value of those assets? You know, we need to think in the decision making. People are ready to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to make that one. It's not making them rich, but we need to think in these areas. Cultural asset, heritage. Like if you go to Calcutta during the Durga Puja and festivals and pandals, you'll say, my goodness, what is this? That is asset. Millions and millions of people get joy out of those things. They work hard, and those things are not that just physical assets. And then I've talked about the spiritual asset. So asset is not just physical assets, it's building and plants and bridges and railways and power plants and ports. Now, future generation like you are demanding more. Now listen, what's about the environment? You are thinking about the sustainability. You are telling that, what about the quality of this water? Information has changed, the thinking. They are demanding. And due to this demand, all these big corporate and others, and these banks, they are telling that ESG, environmental, social governance. So I've taken from the BIMI, they have developed the systems, always giving the reference that communities and people, you have to think about the people. Whatever we do, every action, it is people, people, people. Next one is environmental stewardship. Not just talk, talk, talk. Oh yeah, that's fine. Needs to demonstrate. What I'm telling, you believe because I've realized I'm touching that one. If somebody didn't do that one, tell something, you love, crap. So it requires a demonstration. And then climate change. Climate change, people tell, oh, it's not real, it's not man-made, and all these things. Again. So that is happening. People are demanding. If you don't learn, these types of things happen. There was thousands and thousands year old those artifacts, Aboriginal artifacts, and those things. The companies wanted these mining areas. They went into court and ultimately would have demolished. There was a real challenge, and the banks, they told the listener, we don't want that CEO to be there. Full stop. So these are thoughts. Next generation expectation is changing in terms of assets, and we need to understand and take that in the decision making. This is taken from the Victorian Government Australian report in terms of whatever are the challenges. The challenges related to the rural and regional areas are low population, because we don't have enough people. Reliance on the government, only government will be giving, otherwise there is no money, no revenue, higher unit cost because people are coming from long distance, or they're telling that if I want to go there, you have to pay me more. All these things happens here, the allowance and other things, so that is a challenge, and then service cost is going up and up. So,
Dr. Gopi, may I request you to shorten your presentation because we are running short of time.
Sure.
And there may be a couple of questions, so
yeah,
thank you.
So this is something what we need to look into in terms of the problem, and then what are the benefits, and what are the resources. This is one story of the Collie in Western Australia. That is a small mining town. It was, and then government decided to, from the coal, stop this power generation. This was something before the transformation, and this is something after the transformation in terms of ecotourism and the benefits from the social. So what is needed in these types of cases is understand where the gaps, and in the gaps, then you develop a framework, how you can approach those things related to in an informed way. Once again, this is from the Western Australia's Collie's case studies. And then you know exactly where the challenge is in the local support, operating cost, in terms of technologies, and then you invest in a targeted way. Again, transition from those coal to this hydro. Like if you see that there is a mini hydro where you have the water from those coal mines, and then you pump that like a dam and the hydro, and then use that solar in terms of the generating that power for running that plant, and also in terms of the hydrogen. So once again, people will tell that job lost, and here there are the opportunities in terms of the new generation, and that income is coming. Most difficult thing, let's come to the point, risk and uncertainties associated with the social things. How you can identify, what are the tangibles, what are the intangibles, how we can convert those things into a decision-making process. So this is another thing we have proposed in that mine closure areas. These are some of the things like the natural assets. There was nothing in the Lulio. I think Professor Parida can tell that they had nothing in that area. They started with a small hut in that, and then now it's a sustainable business in terms of the ice hotel in the extreme north of the country. So now what we talked about is that we need to understand that the job losses, what is the impact in terms of the alcohol abuse or the drug abuse or the family violence or the child abuse and the crime rate and the negative cycle, and then look into what are the alternatives, options, and how that can help. So identify those issues, quantify those things, what are the alternatives, and how you can take that informed decision so that you can mitigate those risks. And that can be useful in terms of some of the valuation. It can be useful like tools for the banks and the insurance sectors. So we'll not go into that details. Just to look into that, the social aspect is many stakeholders, difficult to define, no stopping rules. That is a wicked problem. Solution may be irreversible. Once you take a solution, impact of this environment or the societies, you cannot go back. No right and wrong. Sometimes we do not know how to approach those things, and that is why it can be like a decision by people, communities, or by democracy. But once again, that is a long process. Mahatma Gandhi told about that we have enough to satisfy our needs, but not enough for satisfying our greeds. So the most important is what the people value. And this one, again, recently in that workshop, so one of the researchers talked about how we can define the problem and ask the right question to the right people, and then also we do the research. And I have added to that one is a solution. Solution itself, in terms of this toilets and the water, you have invested, but the solution, if that is not implemented, then people are using that one just like a storehouse or something. That is not the solution. So once again, so this maybe you can take, this is the first time I'm proposing here, this is a Gopi's way for addressing those things of this PQRS. I just made it up. This problem, what questions we need to do, how we conduct the research, and the solutions, generating those things and implementing. What is needed to reduce the risk? Funding in the research. All these corporate, government, societies then capability, it's people, capability and skills and knowledge, capacity for regional collaboration. One area may not be sustainable, how we can integrate a couple of them so that they become sustainable. And then leadership and political will. If there is no political will or leadership, nothing is going to happen. So we can talk. Finally, it needs to be with a policy setting and those, can you please, regulatory framework. So it's not working. So this one, can you please? Okay, so this is one I have taken from the Joggo, from the ancient philosophy, Vedic philosophy. The Joggo is created to create the rain, rain comes to the earth, trees take that one and the water system, and it goes back to that cloud again. So that is the cycle. So whenever we do this asset management, we need to look into that cycle. The moment we break the cycle, that rule, we break the rule, rule will break us. We need to take that informed decision. These are the softer issues, but I call it, those are the harder issues. And final thing is that good is not good enough in today's world. Decisions need to be in line with those risks. And well, once again, Australia and India, there are the collaboration, cooperation, and the synergies. This conference can be beginning of those things, how we can work together for the rural and regional assets, and considering the identification of social risks, quantifying those things and put that in the decision making. We have a choice. The Taj Mahal is Taj Mahal. You know that one. The structure made by cloth and bamboo in the Durga Puja in Calcutta, they look like Taj Mahal. They are not Taj Mahal. So it's a difficult choice. We have to look at. There is another one, replica in Calcutta, which is Victoria Memorial Hall. Replica is replica. So difficult choices we need to understand. We need to believe, identify those problems, engage the stakeholders in the decision making. Finally, the Buddha's word is, there is no wealth like knowledge and no poverty like that ignorance. What do you need to know? Based on the science and technology and the social aspect, take risk-informed decisions in the asset management. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay. We can have one question. Yeah.
Sure.
Can someone get the mic there?
Hello, check. Hello. Namaskaram, sir. Sir, my question is, as per you, in the Indian context, what is the most valuable asset we have, and how can we harness it to its full potential? Thank you.
Once again, if you talk about the Indian context, it is the people. The population of India, each and everybody, because that is in the thinking, asking questions, doing things in a different way, innovations. So that is the biggest asset what India has, the people. So to look after them, educate them, don't give money, train them, educate them. They will find a way, they will take risk-informed decisions to go into the value-adding things, reducing the waste. One is the demand side, another is the consumption side. We need to do both, and it is a cycle. So my way is that human is the biggest asset, and whichever country they have these knowledgeable, skilled, competent people, they will lead the world. The more and more technology is coming, more and more it will be the people, and they're in the brain. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gopi. I think we will keep other questions later on. You can talk to Gopi directly because we are running very late now and people are waiting online. Thank you, Gopi, again for the excellent
And it was good
presentation.
that young generation asked those questions, and if you believe that one, you believe that you are the asset. Okay? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Dane Amade, who is joining us online from Mozambique. And Dr. Dane Amade is a 41-year-old Mozambican entrepreneur, CEO of Chameleon LDA and creator of tablet Comunitario, that's a Portuguese word. I don't know, I think I've spelled it correctly, pronounced it correctly. His main focus is to contribute in closing the digital exclusion gap, improve quality in education and capacity building in various rural communities of the third world countries. And in 2015, after a series of drawings, designs and imagination, Dane and his team built from scratch in Mozambique a mobile digital infrastructure powered by solar panels with audio, visual and interactive solutions with the objective of eradication the digital exclusion challenges faced in those communities. This infrastructure was nicknamed the Tablet Comunitario or the Community Tablet. Under his leadership, this digital infrastructure reached over 2 million people, 300 schools and traveled over 2,000 kilometers within Mozambique in adverse road and temperature conditions. Dane has defied many odds by providing a platform to facilitate a realistic digital infrastructure on a real context and access within communities. The topic of his presentation today is an ecological and interactive infrastructure on wheels addressing the digital divide. Dane, you can take over from here. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good
I would like to
afternoon
know
here.
if I can share my screen. Can you all see it?
We can see and hear you clearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my presentation today is how we are overcoming the lack of infrastructure, electricity, and human resources in Africa region. The first slide, it shows the reality in these countries, mainly third world countries, and I believe India is at the same situation. We show the reality, we show some of current practice, which is giving mobile phones or iPads or tablets to students, which is not practical and is not sustainable. And we illustrate how we do it. We use our infrastructure, we deploy it in rural communities, in remote areas, and we give interactive education to this targeted population. This infrastructure, as illustrated, it has 5 meters length and 2.5 meters height. It's equipped with interactive screens. On the one side, as you can see, it's equipped with a large screen from 100 to 120 inches and can be larger. On this case scenario, what we do, we deploy videos to these targeted people or population so they can learn in a digital format, And it's also possible on this large screen to do a video call to a group of people, as illustrated here on the bottom. So they can see a video and they can interact with the video calls, video conference. On the other side of this unit, these are the same units.
Dane, can you put it on a slideshow?
Sorry?
Your presentation is not on the slideshow, so can you just put it on slideshow?
Okay. Is it okay now? Can you see now?
No, we can see the slides, but you have to put it on slideshow.
Okay. So on this, I was saying that this unit is equipped with 2 sides, and on the other side is equipped with interactive screens. These interactive screens allow the target people to interact on these screens. The interaction can be from access to the internet, or can be also for people to do individual video conference. In a case scenario where an individual needs to interact with a teacher, it's possible for people to interact with the teacher individually. In this case scenario, an individual can use these touch screens with the same functionality as they were using an individual as a normal iPad or a normal smartphone. That's why it's called the tablet comunitario, because it's a type of tablet which can be shared and used for all, and is special designed for places like of infrastructure in electricity, etc. This unit is powered by solar energy, so it can reach anywhere without any limitation of electricity. It's designed to work outdoor, so it's under harsh environments like rains, high temperature, dust, and etc. The glass also used is very resistant, and it's mainly designed considering that in this type of region we could face some type of vandalism. On the next slide, we illustrate how we operate on the community. We deploy our units on the communities. This unit can receive satellite or GSM signal in order to facilitate connectivity, and it also used as a hotspot. So until a range of 3 kilometers, it's possible to distribute signal, and whoever has a device like a cell phone or iPad can connect to our system using free internet. Just quick example on how we contribute to rural education in communities. Lack of teacher, we provide online classrooms. Lack of laboratories, we can provide virtual laboratories. Lack of libraries, we can provide virtual libraries. And lack of computer rooms, we can provide what we call our community tablet, and can be used also as a normal internet cafe. So when not in use in any activity, people are free to experience the use on their own path. The way we do it, everyone has like 10 or 15 minutes per day using the biometric access facilities, and we give more for women, for girls. Girls have more access, like we can give a girl. Another scenario, just in a quick illustration. Someone remotely could be connected to 2 or 3 community tablets at the same time. In one case scenario, it could be connected in this terminal or in some other terminal. This is mainly to mitigate, again, we have absence of human resources. So someone seated somewhere, it could be connected to multiple terminals and having connectivity to multiple people as well. So these units here on the bottom, I'll be talking on the last of my presentation. What it is this about but it's our new project to cover southern east regions, which are most divided by islands. It's an amphibious model of our community tablet. A quick illustration on how we can transport our community tablet. We can use a motor vehicle, tractor, animal traction to reach the last mile. Our unit is also ecological. We've been featured in UN Habitat magazine. We built this from recycled plastic, and it's our contribution for the climate change. It's made from recycled plastic and uses solar energy. So just to give you a quick understanding, one unit takes 200 kilos of plastic out of the sea or out of the urban areas. Just a quick illustration on our work done in Southern Africa region, mainly Mozambique. And we have reached about 2 million people in different programs. We've been operating since 6 years ago now in Mozambique. We built the first prototype in Mozambique, and we also have registered on intellectual property this solution. And we are aiming right now for collaboration, cooperation, and synergies, because we have started something, but we feel that we need this collaboration, cooperation, and synergies to improve what we have done, because I believe that together we can make this solution a much better solution and to scale up to the rest of the world. And as I mentioned before, we have this design also, which is an amphibious model, which we wish to work together in collaboration to improve and build this prototype, because this prototype is not built yet. We just have a draft, a design, but we also have intellectual property on this solution. And from my side, it's all, and I'm open for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dane. Any questions from the audience? We can have one question. Yeah. And then there is one question. You can introduce yourself first and ask the question.
Yes, so my name is Sahil Tagore. I am from PRM 43 batch of IRMA. So sir, we have known about this startup from this beautiful presentation. My question was regarding this is how you are making this sustainable financially so that it can be sustained for long run.
I hope you got the question.
I cannot listen clearly.
Yeah. How are you going to make this sustainable, especially the financial viability?
Okay. Mainly, we engage in programs from non-governmental and governmental organizations, and they sponsor these activities for us to deploy these units on site. For example, we use a lot of these for capacity building, and there's a lot of capacity building projects, a lot of health projects, and we manage to get funding through NGOs and government organizations to deploy this on site. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dane. Nice having you here. for this keynote session. Thank you. Thank you once again. Our next presentation is also going to join us online. Professor Uday Kumar. Professor Uday Kumar is the Chair Professor of Operation and Maintenance Engineering and Director of Luleå Railway Research Center at LTU, Sweden. He has more than 30 years of experience in research, consulting, and finding solutions to industrial problems directly or indirectly related to reliability and maintenance of engineering systems. He was awarded the Nordia Science Foundation Award for significant contribution to science, society, and the region in 2014. He is also the recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award, Indian Institute of Technology, BHU, 2017. He is an elected member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. The title of his presentation today will be Asset Management, Next Generation, Powered by Technology and Driven by Sustainability. I invite Professor Uday Kumar to deliver his keynote session. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I'm not able to see anything on the screen because I'm somewhere else, not in my office. And are you able to listen to me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can also see your slides.
And are you also seeing my slides? That's important. Are you seeing my slides over it?
We can see your slides.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the short introduction and thank you for connecting me again. I was thrown out. I was listening. 1 hour ago I was connected. And suddenly I got the message on my all 3 devices. Host has blocked you. Host has removed you from the meeting. So I went to the other colleague's room and I'm connected from there. So it will be, but hopefully it will be working. Topic of the day, like asset management next generation. And I'm going to talk about like how digital transformation in industry work and how this focus on climate change and climate adaptability, sustainability has brought changes into the mindset of the asset managers. I just trying, it's not moving, it's frozen. Thank you. I always take this picture. Luleå is a very small place. It's not like London, Brisbane, Paris, New York. So always we have a small picture with me to show where is Luleå located. It's in north of Sweden. You can see the Arctic Circle. About 1 hour from Stockholm is here. And it's a hub of industrial activities. It's like, we call it like a modern village with 70 to 80,000 population. And one example, like when Facebook moved out of Meta of US, they first choose Luleå as their server hall and all are there. Like Ericsson's, when they were introducing telephones, they had 700 people placed here and were working. Because it's a very lively campus with about 20,000 now students and 200 million euro turnover. It's like purely, it's a government, one of the oldest, 50 years old government institution, but works like a private institution. It's not many focus on business goals and all. And I'm also board member of this university for the last 4 or 5 years. We talk like a company, how to run it, how to deliver value to our customers, like students are our customers in that. What is the motivation for asset management? That's the focus. If we look like from old perspectives, standard perspective for asset management, it was like how to build, shall we build something, shall we buy something, take it on a lease, sell it, or own it. Like there are many questions like comparison of product designs, how to select the best available technology, outsource, replace or refurbished, how to get the what type of maintenance, can we extend the life, etc. And what has happened in last decade, I would say like from 2011 to 2015, lot of things happened in the world. 2011, Industry 4.0 was proposed by German industries. And they spent huge amount of money, almost in terms of it was more than 200 million euro projects to bring the German industry on foot again. At the same time, parallel, the United Nations proposed this SDG goals, actually 17 goals in 2015 in September. Same time, parallel, COP21 in Paris brought focus on the climate change. What has happened? All these 3-4 events impacted the role of asset management and how decisions are made. I'm not going to talk about ISO 55,000. That also came in 2014. So 11 to 15 changed the way assets were managed, changed the perspective to look at the asset management and all. And I'll be touching some of those things. Starting with digitalization. When Industry 4.0 was introduced in 2011 by German industries and World Economic Forum, there was in 16, they put that this is the way forward for the entire manufacturing sector. Focus was that time on manufacturing. But with the Industry 4.0 on industrial Internet of Things, digital transformation become a common topic. Everyone start talking about it. Like a digitalization and digital transformation will transform the industry, will transform the way assets are managed. So it brought a transformative thought into the entire sectors and all. Now, what was to happening? We had a standard way of managing the assets, and then we have this digital revolution, fourth industrial revolution. How? Then asset managers starts bridging the gap. What is to be done from the standard practices to introduce the digital thinking? How to bring the digital transformation into our day-to-day businesses and all. And some of the topics become very popular that time, like a cloud services, like a sharing or edge computing, robotics, AI, ML, digital twins, 5G. And last 2-3 years, people are talking about 6G, where things will be optimized, data will be optimized during transport time only, during the network periods and all. And of course, last 3 years I will call it, metaverse is being discussed and how metaverse will change the assets are managed and maintained. So I'll be touching some of these things, but some of the thoughts like like a digital transformation also facilitate accelerated innovations. It brings transparencies and better access to the information. There are some of the things asset managers starts working on that. Data innovation. Now, when you go for digitalization, Industry 4, we generated a lot of data and focus was brought to data-driven innovation. In the past, innovations were driven by mechanical and electrical powers. And we see the whole first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, and third one, like a digitalization started in 69 and all. They brought a lot of things. But this fourth one is purely based on the data. And new industrialization, development innovations based on data power. How data can change the world. How better decision can be made about the assets. How better decision can be made about the processes, etc. And so we are living in a data-driven world. But is it enough? That will be checking. There are some issues, there are some challenges that needs to be addressed and all. People say data analytics defines and decides business. This is from Economic Times from some years ago. And we also say that when we talk about asset maintenance, especially operation and maintenance, I will say, the descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics will provide us the basis to make correct decision, best possible decision and solutions. But this also has given this Industry 4.0 new technology for asset health monitoring. It has given us the basis. It has provided us with tools to monitor the assets in a better way and predict the remaining useful life so that we can plan the maintenance, so that we can plan our actions on replacement, etc. These are some examples like a dog. We always call dog, drones, and digital twins. For the last, dogs are replacing very fast humans for inspection purposes. I will have a couple of examples. Drones are now being extensively used everywhere, and digital twins are going to become important tools for managing businesses, managing processes, and planning, maintenance, etc. So this is the new technology import asset management is heading. Like also in the lab here, we are trying to integrate dogs and the drones. Dogs can carry up to, this is a Boston Dynamics dog, it can carry up to 14 kg of load. So it can carry the drones, but dog cannot walk. Drones will be going like inspections of infrastructures on the like power grids and all. Dogs and drones can be a good combination. Inspection of railway tracks where dogs can be deployed, where human cannot go. It is a minus 20 degree. We can send the dog, it can inspect, it can take a closer pictures, etc. So things are changing. Digital twin last 2 years, it is, everyone is talking about it, but still we are not there. We have, what we are creating right now is a, what we call digital shadow part we have come. We have physical objects, we create a digital model, what becomes a digital object, digital model, and when we start sending information from physical object to digital object, we create a digital shadow. But still we are not able to communicate through digital to physical. Some of the things, I started my career some 35 years ago in a mining company in India, NMDC, and used to use PLC, programmable logic controller in the plants, but it is based on well-defined structure, if and then logic. When we say digital twin, it will be able to sense, it will be able to calculate, and if then it will be better prepared like a human being. So it will have some form of creative spark of humans, not completely. We cannot replace that one. So that's the thought. It will look into the contextual information, business information, etc., and suggest what is the best course of actions. This is definition by Singer, 2018. Term was coined in 2002 by Michael Greaves. So now digital twin is being frequently deployed at a small, I call it like my colleagues, like a small a grain of a sand, or big like a cities. Like a Stockholm cities has been, a digital twin of a Stockholm cities has been created, like a Stockholm city, and small towns inside, to test the self-driving cars. How self-driving car will sense, how data will be taken from the roads and sent to the car, so that car will perform the task properly. So this is like but there is a huge potential for increasing efficiency and automation in asset management by judicious and correct use of digital twins. That's the hypothesis we have. What we have done in the lab here, now coming back to my group and our department here, operation and maintenance. Last year we started working with this Boston Dynamic dog to deploy for mining purposes, for construction, and for railway. How inspection can be done by railway. So we are, if you see here, we are training the dog in our outside test rig. We have an infrastructure about 40 meters long railway tracks. So we are trying it, how it will sense, how it identify the cracks on the rails, etc., and send the information. Here it is being trained how to go down the stairs, this dog. And how drones are also being tried here. You can see the drones are here. It's not very visible. So there are a lot of inspections for purely for track inspection and other purposes we're using right now. Okay, here it is in the mine. After blasting, you don't send human. Earlier, the practice is there underground. People will go check the roofs, check the gases. Now people are sending the dog. And dog, you don't need to be near the blast phase. You are sitting somewhere comfortably in the office and you have all the information. So it's being deployed by LKB. This is the LKB Kiruna Iron Mining Companies have deployed this. They have 3 dogs like that to inspect. That's there. Now we're coming to this visualization and all. And gradually we are moving towards what we call AR, VR world, and they're being extensively used. This is for the mineral processing purposes, where to look at the mining areas, what are the types of ores and all available. This is our VR lab. And here it's the same lab. We have bigger lab for maintenance, and we have different activities in metaverse. So we are going into what we call a maintenance in metaverse. What we are trying to do, we are trying to see, can we, the metaverse is now being talked by company Meta. And earlier it was only half. If you see, Earlier it was only, there were no legs to these avatars. Now we have got legs to this avatar a few weeks ago. So in our labs, we are trying to match the infrastructure and wheels maintenance, like defining the spots, like there is a defect on the wheel, if you see here, and how can this be trained for training purposes. That's our recommendation. Start working in metaverse for training and analysis purposes. And later on we can move to the repair and all. We are not there. So what is metaverse? Being there without being there with immersive virtual experiences. And I presented this in an opening congress in Montpellier, in France. I was opening speaker, maintenance in metaverse. And I can tell you, that was the most attractive things for the people started asking, how can we use it? Many people had not even heard that it can be used for industrial. When you look into the papers and newspapers, people are talking about social meetings, etc., the metaverse. But we are taking it to the industrial applications and all. And we are demonstrating. And we have what we call transformative high-risk project, which has been funded by the government to do all these experiments and all. Transformative high-risk means we are allowed to fail. Even if I don't do anything, there will be no auditing and all on this. That's why we are stretching the limits for everything here in this project. This we saw just now. This is the no legs, and then you get the legs now. With legs, it will be much more easy to see the feelings and movements, and also feeling on the faces if you find a fault. Like train stops, driver can go with a scan telephone, he can focus on the fail and get an advice from the experts. It's good to run the trains or not to run, or to stop the train or take it to the next station and all. So this is metaverse. Okay. So what new technology facilitate peering into the future? With new technology, we are able to look into the futures. And by making correct decision by exploiting the power of data and other contextual information. Now coming to the second part, driven by sustainability and economic. So we saw these are the standard practices prior to Industry 4. Industry 4 parts are integrated into the decision making, asset management. Now more focus has come after this scope 2015, especially after the Paris Agreement, and now 2021, the scope 26 brought more focus on that. So everyone is talking about sustainability has been there, but now people are talking about climate change mitigation and climate change adaptation. So if we combine the new technology and sustainability, this demand from the society, we'll be able to bring the asset management will really become more powerful things and all. And why it became? Earth is getting warmer, 1.5 degree, 2 degree, and many things, don't use the fossil-based fuels and all, use the hydrogen fuels and all. So Luleå, we have started a big center on what we call hydrogen center, or as an alternative source of energy. And in that, when you talk about managing the iron and steel making, Luleå has a very high quality steel plant here. And usually, Sweden produces around 4.5 million tons to 5 million tons of steel. It's a small country. It's not like India producing hundreds of millions of tons. It's a 10 million population. And goal is to by 2030, all these steels will be fossil free. Means if you produce 1 ton of steel, you produce almost 2 tons of CO2, carbon footprint. So by 8 million tons, that's a 30% of total Swedish emission volumes and all. So government is has funding such project, and Luleå has a big plant, what we call, if you see here, fossil-free steel plant. And 100 tons were produced as an example. And CEO of the plant, last year he was invited to make a statement in United Nations, in General Assembly. So CEO of mining and energy company and the steel plant were guests last year, and they presented, this is the fossil-free steel. There's zero emission and all. Idea is to produce this steel without leaving any carbon footprints. And it's like a simple policy. If you use the coke, you break from the iron and create a CO2. Now instead of carbon, you are using the hydrogen. It will create water. That's the simple policy here. Also, focus in mining is like a first iron ore producer to measure and declare carbon footprints. Every tons of ore being produced will have a carbon footprints. And companies investing $50 billion to become totally fossil free by 2040. In that, all operations will be by electrical, no diesel, no other fuels will be used. Pure diesel and electricity will be produced by windcraft or by only hydropowers and all. Like India also declared last year that hydropower is a fossil free and no carbon footprints and all that. This is also going a big program. ABB, you know, many people know ABB. It's a big electrical company. Volvo car, we know. LKB is the mining company. This is also manufacturing. They're working together to reduce the fossil free, make the mining operation fossil free. That's an example. Challenges. When you go for such things, there are big challenges. Like the biggest challenge is the legacy system, like old system, how to get rid of them. One time I'm saying that we should not use the new resources. Second time, these are creating more problem because you cannot optimize. So it's a big asset management decision problem. Standardization, how different systems should meet. Cyber security, if you're using the digital world, human factors are same problem because all development should be human centric. Society, otherwise society will not accept it. Organizational culture needs to be changed and governance. And here another challenge like a technology side, we are generating a lot of data. So like you should have a technology part of the problem, how to collect the data. We should have a business model that people will be able to invest money and governance is a must. Otherwise, cyber security issues, people will steal your data, they will steal about you. So data provider, data integrator, data processor, data. So there are different types of challenges are there. It's sustainability driven assets. So why we have not been able to associate? What are the challenges? Lack of circular business model. This is in every meeting I am attending. People say there is nothing like all size not fits to everyone. There should be a standard circular business model that people will be attracted to do it. Lack of regulatory framework that promotes circular economy. There is no government regulations that estimates like if you do this thing, you get this tax benefit and all. One example. Asset manager lacks knowledge regarding physics of climate change and climate change impact. Cultural and behavioral barrier. One example I was looking, the lack of knowledge about climate change. You know, Boeing MAX 737 accidents 4 years ago, 3 crashes took place. People has designed one of the best plane, but they forgot to look into the computers take over the human controls and all. And so we have to have a all risk evaluation system. And what happened with the similar plane? It's actually, this is not the right plane here. Climate change. In Indonesia, when plane was landing, and jet engines are designed to take about per cubic meter, it can consume, it can take up to 8 grams of water. But when a plane was landing, this is a second example, in Indonesia, about 18 years ago, it was so much thunderstorm there, it took almost 18 grams of water, in terms of the hailstorm and all. And both engine died and plane has to crash land in a canal. Nobody died actually that time. That was another example. So now people can, whenever designing now, people are looking into the climate change model, how climate will change. It has never happened before. So now people know that it is not 10 grams per cubic meter. It can go up to suddenly 20 grams per cubic meter. How to protect the engines like that. So asset managers, like Boeing engineers are working on that to take now jet engines. If in such cases, what actions need to be done and how pilots are to be trained. So what is happening? People are getting aware about climate change and climate change impacts and trying to adjust the asset management processes and all. Human factors, I say, is too many things and victim of next new things fatigue. Everyone is getting, I learned something today and tomorrow I'm already outdated. So what shall we learn? How to learn? What I should not learn? It's a big challenge for us. Similarly, changing the organization as an asset manager, I want to integrate Industry 4.0 thinking. I want to bring climate change, climate adaptation issues on the forefront, but organization is not ready. How to change the culture? That's one of the other big issues. So concluding the talk, and effective asset management deals not only with the whole life cycle management and reduce the cost, but also facilitates integration of new technology and its alignment with new business realities and regulatory requirements like a carbon footprints, etc. Climate change impact and climate change adaptation are critical parameters for modern day managers to ensure robust and resilient operations. What I'm trying to say, new technology and climate change impact and climate change adaptation has to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Uday Kumar. We can have one question. From the audience. Yeah, I think if there are no questions, thank you, Professor Uday Kumar.
Thank you.
We are actually running a little bit late. We can interact maybe on some of the things later on by using emails or a video call. I have the next presentation. By Mr. Umakantan Anand. He is the head of reliability static equipment at Reliance Industries Limited. A graduate in science from the University of Chennai, followed by graduation in metallurgical engineering from the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. Close to 33 years of experience in managing the reliability and integrity of assets in large to very large petrochemical plants and refineries, power plants and tank farms. He has a deep understanding of designing of static equipment, corrosion, degradation mechanisms in typical refinery and petrochemical plants. He has vast experience in application of conventional and advanced non-destructive evaluation for in-service inspection of assets. He has a passion for development of next generation leaders who will be leading the asset integrity management in the years to come. He also drives development of new and advanced NDE methods by collaborating with academia and industry. He has a vision to bring in next generation technology in NDE and corrosion management technology for process plants that will be online and in real time. The presentation topic today is advanced non-destructive examination methods for asset management in refineries and petrochemical manufacturing facilities. So 15 minutes and then we'll have one question from the audience. Yeah. Thank you.
Am I audible? Yeah, that's fine. So, good afternoon everybody. I think two lectures are very difficult, one just before lunch and just after the lunch. So, let me not take too much time here. We are asset owners, right, and we are users of technology. So, our bread and butter is to manufacture diesel, petrol, LPG, naphtha, ethylene, all the petrochemical products, right. So, that's where I come from. So, today we will some of these slides are supposed to be shown. I think most of the people know Reliance here. So, and I am in this Reliance O2C, oil to chemical businesses, because Reliance has diversified now into digital and retail, and there are many industries, new energy, and also I represent the oil to chemicals division. Right, so these are all known to people, so I will not spend too much time on this, and we also grow mangoes. We grow around 600 tons of mango every year at our Jamnagar refinery. Pardon? That you did not. So that's the most important thing. We have around more than 200,000 mango trees there. So, yeah, so that's refinery plus petrochemicals. People who are not very informed about it, yes, it's a huge energy intensive plant, but I think we will have this refinery and petrochemicals for at least 2 to 3 decades to come before we say goodbye to them, and we have alternate resources. In addition to the main plant that has all your reactors and those kind of equipments, people who have a bit of chemistry knowledge. So this is a night photograph of the one part of the Jamnagar complex. So we have pipelines crisscrossing across the country, delivering the products and getting the raw materials. Buried pipelines going through public domain, and any incident can be dangerous. How many, this week we are celebrating Bhopal Remembrance Week. How many of the students know Bhopal incident? Good. Okay, it happened on December 4th. How many people died approximately? 20,000. Right? In a flash of a second, within few seconds, gases came out from the components. It is supposed to be within the pipeline or the equipments. It came out, it spread, right? So, we are also part of similar industries, may not be so toxic, but we handle a lot of hazardous chemicals. So, the entire, we have power plants which generates power up to, for example, Jamnagar alone has around more than 2000 megawatts of generation capacity, and we have added coal-based facilities. We have to store our raw materials, intermediate products, all the diesel, petrol, gasoline, naphtha, all the things what you receive in your petrol station has to be stored somewhere and then conveyed to the petrol station. So storage capacities are very huge. So we use a lot of water, air, steam, nitrogen. Without these things, we cannot convert crude oil into usable fuel. We generate generate hydrogen and oxygen. We supply because it is used in the chemical reactions. And we supplied a lot of oxygen during the COVID second wave. We stopped certain facilities and diverted the liquid oxygen to all the western part of the country to facilitate COVID management. And a lot of loading, unloading facilities, road, rail, ships, jetties. So the products and the raw material has to be transported. So it is a full thing where all the different types of asset needs to be taken care. It is just not one single kind of asset where we manage. Operation people who are again having some basic knowledge on physics, chemistry, we have systems working under full vacuum and we have systems working at more than 3000 bar. Atmospheric pressure is 1 bar, right? We can go up to 3000 bar. Your polyethylene sheets, what you nicely see, what people say don't use thin polythene sheets, that polythene gets generated when the pressure is around 3000 bar, right? Operating temperatures can be as low as minus 196 to 1100 degrees centigrade, where we manufacture all your polypropylene, polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride. All processes are highly energy intensive driven. Flow can be no flow to sonic flows. And solids, liquid gases, you handle all kinds of materials and a combination of these things. So maintenance of all these assets, the strategy has to be different. And we have all at all corners. Challenge, I think we just talked about the Bhopal incident. We have to keep the material inside the piping and the equipment simple. We don't want anything out. If there is a loss of containment, you have a fire, you have a leakage, can have a toxic situation, anything can happen. So integrity has to be assured. And that's where we play a major role in adopting technology for ensuring this, right? So huge equipments, heat exchangers, distillation columns as tall as 130 meters, where humans cannot go, airfin coolers, storage tanks. Reliance has around 1000 storage tanks across the country, right? So maze of pipelines. In one refinery, if you start laying the pipeline, joining all those things, we can go from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and come back. And sizes ranges from quarter inches to 120 inches diameter. So a man can walk through the pipeline and come back. So need different types of technologies. So how does Reliance adopt itself to it? And there is always a business demand. Safety is first and uninterrupted. Production has to go uninterrupted. EED. Everybody wants to know that tomorrow will my tire puncture in the car. Sorry, when I am driving down from Mumbai to Baroda. The answer is no, I don't know. So if I can able to predict it, that's what is called early event detection. People tell me first tomorrow that I am going to fail. Tomorrow I am going to have an Bhopal incident. If that is a kind of an ideal world, but challenge is tending towards it. How many events we can predict? High MTBR, mean time between repairs. How long I can run an equipment without repairs, mean time between repair. And whenever there is a breakdown, how fast I can come back to normal. So if there is breakdown in the car, your tire gets punctured, how fast you can get back on road. right? So that's a challenge. Operating expenditure, obviously, everybody there wants to minimize operating expenditure so that you maximize profits. And then asset sweating, extract the last drop of your material so that you make more profit, right? Reliance across all manufacturing sites, we have close to 13 lakh tagged assets. Means there is an identification number attached to it and you need to do a certain type of maintenance to keep it alive. So obviously when you talk about 1.3 million, it is humanly impossible to follow a manual system. We need to adopt technology. So advanced methods, there are two things what we have kind of adopted. One is systemic. The other is advanced tools, technology. We'll see the systemic ones. We started in 1988, a small industry somewhere near Patalganga, near Mumbai. It was a manual system. Then 1989, we developed the very basic model of computerized materials management system, right? In-house developed, put some 3 basic Fortran programming and COBOL programming and you developed certain things. Ran for some time. 1994, Hazira came up near Surat and then we had a integrated plant maintenance system which is a slightly advanced computerized system. In 1999, Jamnagar refinery came up, so that's when we became a bit larger and we wanted more advanced systems. So the first thing that came up was electrical management system to manage power so that there are no trips and shutdowns. Integrated fuel and gas, as we said, we handle a lot of gas, hazardous material, petrol, diesel, LPG. We wanted a fire and gas alarm system so that if there is a fire, the people should come to know within few seconds and the response should come immediately to manage it. Then we bought SAP, Enterprise Resource Planning. That's the first time we bought an outside big software to manage our businesses because it integrates materials, maintenance, finance, sales and production planning, everything comes into an integrated platform. Then we got into predictive maintenance. We started putting sensors, especially on compressors, turbines, all those kind of reactors so that you will be able to predict real time how it is operating. And then we got into IP21, which is nothing but Aspentech programs. Sitting in Mumbai, I can today see what is the pressure, temperature, flow on a particular reactor in Jamnagar. I don't have to talk to anybody. This was not existing before 1999. And then 2000, we hired Shell Global Solutions to improve upon our corrosion monitoring systems. 2006, we came up with integrity operating windows. What is the integrity means again? Where the corrosion or any kind of damage can happen in an accelerated manner. So we need to operate the plants within a certain pressure temperature windows. Right, in 2009, we hired again DuPont, process safety. Again, because in 2006 we had a fire. We lost 2 lives. So after that management gave us DuPont. DuPont is supposed to be the world's best in safety management in chemical industries. So we hired them and then they gave us this wheel of process safety management. Right? 2012 it was business transformation. 2015 we became too large. We had 2 refineries. We had taken over IPCL as our own into our own fold, Baroda and Dahej and Nagotane. So we implemented a further advanced system of advanced asset management program, APM. We hired Meridium. Then we hired Honeywell for OMPRO. Then we got a root cause analysis so that we can learn from our failures. And then Exida for safety instrumented systems. 2016 we hired again British Petroleum for operating management systems, risk-based inspection, reliability centered maintenance, smart signal EET. So there is an evolution. It doesn't happen. So all the technologies what we talk about asset management, it's not an overnight thing that has happened. We invested millions of dollars, trained people. Again, the most important thing, I think a lot of people talked about people. Right? Finally, you have thousands of people managing this system. Everybody needs to be trained. So, but these are all the systems that came into the picture, advanced ones, which helps us in maintaining. I think some of the things what we already talked about is digital twins. The previous speaker was talking about it. Then there is everything people want real time and online. Right? So I have recent cars are coming with that. Right? Last time when I was driving from Mumbai to Pune, suddenly in the expressway, there is a TPMS error. I didn't know that my car had something called TPMS. Then I understood it is tire pressure management system. Then it said your right side front tire pressure is low. I said, good information, but how much low? Because you are on an expressway, you know that for 100 kilometers you can't stop anywhere. Right? Then when I came back, then there was a button in the car which you press there, it tells you what is the actual pressure also. So I had to learn that the hard way, but next time it was good information for me. It's real time and online. So you don't have to worry too much about your tire pressure going down and whether you will be stuck at the road. So this is true for all the industries. And somebody was talking about prescriptive maintenance also. It's like going to a doctor, you tell I am having a fever and he gives a prescription. Can I allow the asset to keep on operating and in between you go and prescribe certain medicines so that you don't have to take the equipment out of operations. Some of the advanced technologies working, I'm sure it will be too technical on this. This works on an electrical principle where you can measure thickness of components even up to 500 degrees centigrade. Right? So that's the technology being used for very corrosive systems where we expect the metal to corrode very fast. This is a very 4-inch size, some kind of a cricket ball, which is used for monitoring water pipelines. So we have a water pipeline from Narmada river going up to the Dahej, 800 kilometers. You introduce this smart ball at one end, at the end you can pick it up from there and it has the entire history and it will exactly tell you where the lines are leaking. It works on the principles of sound. Right? Very useful technology. Infrared thermography for boilers and other kind of equipments to know whether my asset is going to fail or is it getting overheated. Can it cause a failure? Laser beam is widely used. It's becoming very, very widely used to check the deformation in the structures, whether my equipments are failing, if it's going to fail, at what extent, what is the extent of damage. The next 3 things what I am going to show you is very critical, not from the technology point of view. This is again for pipeline inspection called as GUMS. And then we have this rover. You can see that rover being lowered into an equipment for inspection, and this is the underwater. This can swim inside kind of a swimming pool, or it can go out subsea and look at the structures. Right? So it's called a rover. The third one is drone. These are all about 200 meters tall structures. Normally nobody can go and see. Till 5 years before we never used to know how it is operating. Now I can send a drone, it can go right on top of it and you can tell you what is the condition. All these 3 are made in India by students like you. They joined Reliance, at least the first 2, they joined Reliance. We allowed them to innovate. We gave them the problem, they innovated the product. The GUMS is a company, now it is taken over by a company called Detect Technologies. We partially funded it. Now it is a company called Detect Technologies, funded by IIT Chennai. Students like you. And this is also by a team, the company is called Planis Technology, which is based out of IIT Chennai again, the incubation center, and they are now into a registered company giving services to all the industries, right? And this is again by Detect. These are all industrial drones. They are not the drones what you see in a marriage. They are all industrial drones, which can carry a lot of payload and can real time, we are doing a lot of inspection. So a lot of developments are going on. As Reliance, what we do is, we allow them to come and test this on real life equipments. And then we tell them this is what we want. We keep on adding our demands. They go back to the laboratory, they do the testing, they come back. So Reliance does 2 things. One is we fund the development. If I see an actual use of it, I fund the development. We give them a couple of crores of rupees, 3 crores, 4 crores, till the product comes to a commercially usable level. The second one is, when the beta testing is going on, you allow them to come and put it on the real-time assets. And we allow them to take data, go back, calculate and come back. So this is how we associate ourselves in the development of technologies. So this is not the end, and a lot of things to come, because integrity or intelligent asset management is a continuous activity, and there are many assets which are still cannot be inspected or monitored online. So the playground is open for innovation, right? So thank IRMA for the opportunity to come here and present some of the things what Reliance does in adopting this intelligent asset management. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Umakanthan Anand. And if there are any questions from the audience, we can have, there's so many, okay.
Yeah. No, it's a single diameter, 4 inches. Yeah, it just picks up the acoustic emission signals. So when there is a leak, you always hear even in the house also, if there is a tap is leaking, you hear the jet comes out with a small hissing sound. So this ball can pick up that sound, and it is connected to the GPS, so it exactly tells you what length of the pipeline this hissing sound is there. You dig, mostly it is used for buried pipelines. It just floats. As the water goes, it floats. Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Only one thing. In all these things, the cultural issue is the hardest part.
Yes.
People will believe they will do that, they will not have the fear, so that make it work is one. How do you address that one? So that is our technology is difficult, but that is the most difficult. The people stand for that one and they believe that one and the support from that top management.
Support from the top management is always there because the management, the board appreciates the risks with which we operate these companies, and they fully understand what we are handling. So culturally, that's only the one way is to keep on talking to people, training people, and then exposing them, and then that's the only way. So as people have to gear up to use these technologies, understand these technologies, and as that's where leaders like us, we facilitate in asking the right questions. If somebody comes and tells me they have done a smart ball testing and there are 8 leaks, the first question we ask is, what is smart ball? How does it work? What is the technology with which it works? What is the accuracy of its detection? What is the probability of detection? All these questions are asked before we look at the result is good. There are 8 leaks, dig and arrest the leak. That's the easiest thing. So what we do is ask people these questions, send them back to the table, read the books, Google, find out that information, come back to us. And that's how the continuous evolution of development of people keeps taking place. Yeah, it's a big challenge, very big challenge. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and good to see all those innovative technologies being put into place in monitoring the condition of your assets. And you have got a huge asset, as you mentioned. I have just one simple question, and that is, with so much information that is available, you've got heaps of data. And so my question is that how far you are in utilizing this data in fully implementing Industry 4.0. And that is my specific question there is that, do you see the role of data in devising intelligent, that is artificially intelligent tools and techniques in interpretation of those diagnostics information that is coming, that currently is been conducted by probably many human beings that you have in your company?
We have started the journey. I think the pandemic slowed it down a bit because the funding stopped for it. So now the pandemic is over now. So the company has started funding those activities. At least 2 places where we are doing this are going to try this out. One is on the large rotary equipments, pumps, compressors, turbines and other things, where the concept of this artificial intelligence on early event detections. Don't come and tell me after the bearing has failed. You need to tell me 6 months, because the bearing starts failing quite at an early stage, and there are enough signals developed by the rotary equipments. So we have chosen around 2,000 rotary equipments across all Reliance sites where we have censored it. We have put the sensors on it. We're spending around $200 million, and then we are doing the trial. The other one is real-time corrosion monitoring, because we understand the fluids, what is going, and we are developing artificial models based on all the chemistry, Arrhenius equations and other things, where as the fluid is moving through the pipelines, it should be able to tell me what is the corrosion rate, rather than take a shutdown of the unit once in 5 years, do some inspection and tell the component is corroded. So these are the 2 areas, at least in my domain within the industry, where we are moving towards data-based interpretation and predicting the degradation in the assets.
Yeah, I was mainly thinking that with so much information available, I think the trending of data is going to tell you that when is the end of that particular asset's life.
Yes.
And also if there is a criticality that reaching the threshold of condition, that tells you that, okay, there is an immediate asset replacement that might be required.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that you could actually now implement, given that you have done the hard work and where you
are. Yeah, you are right.
Thank you. Good to see what you have done.
Thank you very much. Maybe we will allow them to go for lunch. I will catch up with you.
Yeah.
As we go.
Thank you, Mr. Umakantan, once again, and thank you all for participating in this keynote session. Very interesting topics, and I thank all the speakers. Right from the beginning, Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay, Dane Amande, Professor Uday Kumar, and Mr. Umakantan Anand. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
So with this, we are marking the end of this part of sessions. Once again, I request you all to please give a good round of applause for all the speakers for delivering us a wonderful and an excellent session. And we also thank Dr. Raghuveer Pai for chairing and coordinating the session, keeping the time limit in mind.
So now we will break for the lunch break, which will be set up at ETDC, following which the technical events and the paper presentation will go on in ETDC as well. So we will be at ETDC post lunch, that will be after 2:30. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you. There are
3 rooms, sir.
Yeah, you can announce the 3 rooms.
Right. Select hall and syndicate 2.